I got something to tell everybody out there. Sometimes you may feel like life have you in bondage. You don't know which way to turn. And you just feel like deep down inside, God, you have to help me. But take it from me someday. It may not be your day or the day that you want it to happen, but someday we'll all be free. I got a message to tell y'all. I want y'all to listen to him. Listen very, very carefully, because it's a short song with a big message. Someday we'll all be free. Listen. Even though right now you may be going through, somehow you wear a smile. Rainy days don't wash away the pain inside. No, you can't hide. Lift your head to the sky. In our life, we all need some relief. We all need peace to fulfill our destiny. I don't know what tomorrow may bring, but all I know is someday we'll all be free. Someday we'll all be free. No need to cry, no need to complain. Someday, don't give up now. Someday, take some time and talk to me, baby. Tell me what's on your mind. He's listening to everyone, to my people in the ghetto, and my people around the world. We'll all be free. Yes, we will. Call them up and tell them what you want. Tell them what you need. There's no doubt in my mind. 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 We'll all be free. Yeah. Someday. That's what he's saying.
Let's do a mic check. Who with me? Haven't been here in a few days. Hold on one second. Haven't been here in a few days, so I'm just getting all my levels up. Good afternoon, everyone. How we doing today? Sorry about yesterday. I'm gonna give you some honest. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't feel like doing it yesterday. Had a great weekend, family, and I was riding a high from the weekend. I didn't want to come in on Monday and have to deal with some of the things that I deal with on this show and in the conversation. Didn't want to talk, and I just didn't have time for it. My mental wasn't there. I didn't want to try to break shit down. I don't know. I don't know. Sierra, you having problems seeing me? Is it just Sierra or is it everyone? On my monitor, looks like I'm okay. It's a little slow. It's a little slow. Twin, I see that you just chimed in. I got something for you today, young man. Got something for you today, my brother. Sometimes patience is the key. Everybody saying I'm pixelated. I don't know. Maybe I should. Let's give it a minute, okay? Maybe my connection is bad because of how I'm connected today. I don't want to get into all of that, but maybe that's what it is. Maybe we should go to just a blank screen. Talk, or maybe put a picture up. How about y'all talk to Lil Ran Ran? How about that? I don't know. They really want to talk to Lil Ran Ran. He different. Lil Ran Ran different. I got a lot to say today. In a short period of time. Wasn't here on Friday. You guys knew I wasn't gonna be here on Friday. Sierra said, "It's like I'm in witness protection." No, but you know what, Sierra? That's so on point of some of the things I want to talk about today, sis. Thank you for saying that because it just kind of opened up a segue for me to talk about. I don't know if it was. I don't want to say any names. Someone tagged me today because Jeff Pastor was on the radio. Now I couldn't watch it, but I could listen to it. And I couldn't catch it all because I didn't catch the whole thing, but I'm gonna speak on that today. Now, y'all know I've been everything kind to Jeff Pastor. I was actually very kind to PG Sittenfield. I've been extremely kind to the people that I don't even mention. But I think your boy Jeff Pastor says something today that should open up a lot of y'all eyes. When he says that he was in the penitentiary, which was the federal penitentiary, and there was a lot of people there that y'all know, you should really think about what he said. Not focus on so much him, but pay attention to what he was talking about. And it's kind of somewhat what I've been talking about here on Wyatt Live for at least 2 of the 5 years that I've been here. And I've been talking about how your leaders aren't really leaders, that they do shit out of bounds. They do things for self-sufficient for themselves. But you never hear about where they go off to, what punishments they face. You just think that they fade to black. No, that's not it. The only ones that you really hear about are the ones that catch the high profile federal cases. I've been knowing about I know who Jeff Pastor talking about when he says not just his co-defendant, not just Jeff, not just what's his name, PG, not just those guys. I know the other people sitting in federal penitentiaries that he's talking about, who he says check their paperwork. Now now I don't mean to be disrespectful to him. He's a family man. But y'all know that's an institutionalized type of way of talking. I'm sorry. It's an institutional way of talking when you say check people's paperwork. You've never heard me say that. You've never heard me say check their paperwork. Now, there's some people that know. I guess you don't have to be institutionalized to know what check their paperwork means. However, check their paperwork is an institutionalized way of saying this is who's snitching, this is who's not snitching, this is who. I mean, it's not something that the average civilian would say. This is a presentation. This is what people who come from the inside talk about, and they worry. I mean, they live a different life now. Now it's about who snitching, who not snitching, who stood up tall. It ain't about y'all no more, folks. It's not about what they doing for y'all. It's what they doing for themselves. And it even glides into the insides of these federal penitentiaries when they say shit like, well, at least I didn't snitch. At least I didn't snitch. And he even says something to the point where I knew exactly what that man was talking about when he said some of the people that you look up to today, they the ones who set people up, and they the ones who, got us in here. Y'all know who that is. I'm the only one that ever mentions them for what they've actually done. You don't look at the fact that somebody used the FBI. Well, let me just say it like this. The FBI used somebody to lock y'all politicians up. And you still praising the person who the FBI used? Get out of here. Yo, the FBI, well, Donnie, my bro Donnie, said hello to everyone. Donnie, if the feds come knock on your door and they need to use you for something, chances are you're going to be like, man, I don't even know who y'all are. You have no reason to be here. Y'all going to have to go get somebody that you got something on, because I'm not helping you do nothing. It's not going to benefit me in any kind of way. Y'all can't benefit me. The only people that benefit from the feds are the people who the feds got something on. That's it. And guess what? Let me just tell you a little secret. The only people that the feds reach out to help them catch somebody or to get somebody caught up is somebody they got something on. Stop me when I'm lying. Y'all so easy for these people. My man got on there. Now, y'all know I ain't never had nothing but love for Jeff Pastor. He's a family man and the whole nine, but he just was all over the place. He was his mistake. He acknowledged his mistake, but the little bit that I heard, it's not fair for me to give a full blown out opinion because I didn't hear the whole interview. So from what I heard, I would have an opinion based on what I heard. So what I heard probably would allow some of the agents out here, some of the people who always want to go against whatever I say or find some little micro reason of me to be wrong. You could probably find something because I didn't hear the beginning of the interview, but where all I heard was him basically saying that what he did, he made a mistake. Well, everybody in the penitentiary made a mistake. Everybody made a mistake. But what was the mistake for? Why did you make that mistake? That's what I like. That's repent. That's when you have said, look, I was on some bullshit. I was trying to run my money up. I was trying to position myself to do certain things. These were my intentions. This is what I was going to do, blah, blah, blah. Just be honest about your intent. But to say I just simply made a mistake, that is really for emotional grabbing people. That's for people that can say, well, and I'm the first to say it. We all make mistakes. But there's certain positions where when you make a mistake, was your mistake self-serving or was it for the people? Explain. It's not that difficult. There's some mistakes that we make. For instance, if I went out there and made a mistake in a certain area, I would probably get probation. I would probably get, one of them long 5, 6, 7 year probation stints, depending on what it is. Okay. And, you know, uh, because I don't know what I've done to get that probation. I'm not going to put myself in a certain box. But what I'm saying to you is, with no criminal record, I know that I could probably do certain things in life and just come away with probation and restitution. I know that, okay? However, there are certain roles in life that you have that, if you get caught for the very first time, you're going to jail if convicted. There's no excuse. I don't believe that you can use the word mistake. I just don't believe you can do that. I don't think you mistakenly murder somebody when you thought it out, when you premeditate. That, to me, that's what it is. When you do certain crimes and you know what the consequences is, jail time, no matter what your previous history, whatever your record is, you're going to jail if you get convicted of this particular crime, and you do it anyway. You didn't make a mistake. You intended to make these moves for whatever benefit, whether it benefited you or the people. Just explain that. I can't stand when people use "I made a mistake" as an excuse. Everybody in the penitentiary, no, I take that back. That's not proper. Not everybody in the penitentiary made a mistake. Some people intentionally committed, intentionally murdered, intentionally raped, intentionally did something to somebody to get themselves in the penitentiary. But there are a lot of people in the penitentiary that made a mistake one night, made a 30-second mistake, and it cost them 30 years of their life. I've been nothing but fair to those that went to jail. Hell, I don't even talk about the ones that are the most vocal. To be honest with you, you got people out here that went to jail for corruption, stealing in office, and all that old shit, and have the audacity to be out here talking about other people as if they're not a criminal or as if they're not a damn convict them damn selves. And it's so funny because only we can do that. Only we can do only we do that shit. Step out here, you didn't did the shit. You didn't committed all these crimes. You didn't committed these felonies. You're a convicted felon, and you have the audacity to come out here and talk about other convicted felons and what they doing as if you crispy, sleepy, clean. I just don't understand why don't nobody call that shit out. I don't get it. But yeah, I'll get into the Jeff Pastor conversation in a little bit. I got some other things I want to try to bring up. Um, I gotta have a conversation with, and I know y'all gonna be like, but there's a teacher, there's a moment, there's a teachable moment here. Thank you, Carolyn Smith. She said no accountability. Absolutely. When you come on and say, hey, the mistake that I made, it's my first mistake, and I get it. He's absolutely right. There's just certain things that I don't. Should he have went to jail? I told y'all 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever. I don't think him or PG should have went to jail. I don't think the other person should have went to jail. I just think they should be removed from doing business like that, public service business or whatever. They should have a conviction on their record. Yes, but to do that, it's not a non-violent, didn't hurt anybody. I just don't think they should. Jeff Pastor should have never went to jail. He's family oriented. Let him look. The fact that he went through what he went through, the embarrassment, a lot of shit. But they signed up knowing if they get caught in corruption cases, and it's a Fed case, that not only will I lose my career, I'll lose my freedom. If I lose my career and I lose my freedom, I could lose my family. So when you see all those things, when you see all those, all that loss, and you still make the decisions you make, that's a huge risk. It's a huge risk. So I don't know. That's just my opinion, folks. It was only my opinion that he shouldn't have went to jail. There's some people that disagree with me. I don't believe PG Sittenfield should have went to jail. I don't believe I just don't believe those type of crimes should require jail time. But then, knowing that going in, some of these politicians will hit a lick and get a conviction, and oh well, they just cashed out $2-3 million in contracts or project, solicitations and things of that nature, and they'll just take the money and run. Forget the power and the position. Let me just hit a $2-3 million lick. They may do that if there's no deterrent, if there's no jail deterrent, no jail time. So, yeah. But what I learned today, I didn't really learn. I sat back and I listened to Jeff Pastor talk about what I already knew. And the people, I didn't know that his co-defendant was a celly. I didn't know that. I didn't know that he would say something that he did say, and that was, there was a lot of people in there that I knew already. There were a lot of people in there, and a lot could be 4 or 5 or 6. There were a lot of people in there that he already had touched, that he knew of, that he knew about. Now, he ain't no dude. He ain't no down the way dude. They might have grew up downtown, but they separated. I'm no different. They separated themselves from that lifestyle of being in the hood and all that old shit. He's not talking about the neighborhood dope dude, because that neighborhood dope dude is not sitting in a federal joint where the easy sleazies do it. The Jeff Pastors and the what's his name, PG Sittenfields and all that. Them guys are white collar crime people. These was low security people. So violent drug activity, that was not where they were. These were all paper pusher criminals. These were all people that was theft in office, doing federal crimes. Nobody wanted to ask. If I was interviewing him, I would say, well, who the fuck, who else was up there? Who you say you see PG, you cried when he went home, you cried when your Sally went home. Who else did you see up there that you knew of Cincinnati, who you say was a prominent figure or a well-known name in the city? Who else was up there? See, I could say it, but I'm not going to say it because it's not my place to say it. I'm just going to be honest with you. If I was going up there and I was paying visits to these people that he's talking about, and I asked them face to face, you mind if I tell everybody where you at? You know what I'm saying? Then I'd be like, yeah, my man such and such, or my girl such and such. She there, he there. But I don't visit jail. I don't visit jail, especially to someone that I told prior to them catching the case, calm down, slow down, blah, blah, blah. And you look at me like I'm crazy, like I'm stupid for not going to get the bag. Now, I'm not visiting jail. I'll help you get home. I'll help you when you get home. I've done that multiple times, but I'm not driving to the penitentiary. I'm not driving to the Asheville. I'm not driving to a federal institution. Wait a minute. Darnell Hunter said, I found it interesting what he was saying about snitching and snitches. Right. What? He ain't no street dude. I know he claimed that some years ago. I forgot exactly what it was. But can y'all imagine me interviewing him, knowing what I know about certain things? Like, I don't think it would be a different interview. I don't think Mr. Ware is a street dude. I don't think he know what to ask. I think he's open to whatever the conversation, whatever pastor, how he wants to carry the conversation. I get that. But I don't think, like, when you open the door of, I had other people there that I knew that y'all all know, and they kind of prominent people, I'd have attack dog that. I'd have been like, well, who? Simple question. Who else up there? Oh, I wish I would have been able to ask that question. Or I wish that question would have been asked. Because it explains other things. It explains your leadership. It explains how you fall asleep on people that you think are for your community. I mean, I don't, and then I don't understand. There's a lot of shit I didn't understand. I get it, because maybe the agreement was, I'll come on, have this conversation, but I can only go so far. Here is how I know he can only go so far. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt, guys. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt, and let's do this respectfully. He's trying to get a pardon. He's trying to get his conviction overturned by the Trump administration or whoever's going to be the president. I don't know how long it'll take. You know what I'm saying? But the current president right now is Donald Trump. He overturned, or he pardoned PG Sittenfield. I wonder how his fans feel right now. I wonder how PG, we already know. How does PG Sittenfield fans feel knowing that he took a pardon from Donald Trump? This was y'all mans. This was your mans and them. This is the dude who told who in a federal court, you read the if you read the transcript, he had a phone call who said he got Cincinnati the way he wants Cincinnati, and he can get all the votes. You know who he talking about. He got all the power. He got y'all wasn't there, but the information is available to you. That don't make you feel like shit that the main black megaphone of the city is promoting the dude who pretty much feels like y'all would do anything for him. He controls things. He can get the votes, this and that. Y'all don't feel a certain way about it? Nah, the ones that yell the loudest and scream about everybody else ain't got shit to say about their own team. Or wait a minute, hold on. This dude did us like that? The day he do an interview, that's the day I'll get on him. Wow. I'm going to give Mr. Pastor, because he's a family man, he's a brother. I have no problems with him. I was wishing him well. I wish he would have never went to jail. But to sit back and be as naive and think that you're not doing anything wrong and that the government, you don't even really like the government. And I understood what he was saying because of his conservative way of thinking. He wants to reduce the government. See, that sounds ridiculous to me when you want to reduce the government, but you're committing corruption. I mean, see, you almost make it where the government has to exist if you're going to be a politician that will take advantage of gifts for votes. You're the reason why they have watchdogs. If you're going to sit back and get luxury trips on private planes and grapes and strawberries dropped in your mouth and get on a payroll, you're the reason why the government has watchdogs. So you won't be corrupt and do things that's not necessarily for the people, but it's for you. Oh my goodness. Here's something that I seen right before I came on the air. I burned it. I'm not jumping on him. I'm just curious why. Where is this coming from? Mr. Pastor said, you've got the crime rate. He said, you've got the crime rate. You've got these children who are out here who are being shot dead. It's just like everything has run amok. If I wasn't caught up in the FBI sting or the FBI trap, I'm positive that this wouldn't have happened. Come on, bro. The fuck? You know how crazy that sounds? Do you? So basically, for everybody that says the city hall, not community, but city council can't stop crime, according to Mr. Pastor, none of this shooting and fighting and all this shit that's going on in the city of Cincinnati would have happened if he wouldn't have got caught up in some bullshit with the feds. Slow down, bro. Get some training before you come out here and talk like this. Okay? Don't look, because our people don't give a fuck. Don't go down to them white neighborhoods and them white channels and all that old shit saying nothing like that. You probably should have talked to your attorney before you present yourself like this, because the chances of you getting a pardon is very slim. You've already done the time. You're not even in a position where an administration can benefit from doing something for you. You're timed out. You've done your time. Put the pieces together. I understand you want a pardon, not necessarily to run again. It might be, but that conviction hurts you as a human being of getting jobs other places and doing other things. It doesn't necessarily have to be in politics in the city of Cincinnati. However, brother, I deep down, I felt it in my heart. I felt it on the left side of my heart that if you were to get a pardon, you would run in the city once again as a politician. But I believe you would switch your party because I heard you talking that black shit when you got on the radio. So you wasn't quite, and y'all got to understand, I got respect for him because I know people that know him that help him and do. I know people, but at the same time, I'm noticing that you're switching gears. You threw a lot of God and you're talking about the black man couldn't get the same type of this and this. Now, don't do that shit now because you wasn't quite doing that before you caught this case. It was a little bit different then. Now you know that in order to, y'all should understand this is a normal play for politicians. When they fall off a certain pedestal, they have to go to another crowd to be appealing again. So here he comes, here he goes. He's going to try to get, I hope he get pardoned just to make me right in this case. If he's pardoned, he'll be in Cincinnati talking that politics shit again. And he'll be a Democrat all of a sudden because he knows that all he got to do is plead to the people. Oh man, you know us brothers, we be thinking certain ways, and you know the man want to hold us down. And listen, come on, I promise you that's how it'll go. I promise you, because everybody know that if you can use emotions, if you can use the emotional stance, if you can get in by talking about that black shit with the and you know they don't once. Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said? And you know what? Here's the thing. Bro, let me, because he might have been talking about me. I doubt it. He don't watch the show. Did you hear what he said? He was assumed to be guilty when they seen him because he was black. No, bro. I said the same shit about PG and all the rest of them. I don't care what color they was. When a federal indictment came down, I said y'all guilty. It had nothing to do with you being black. It had nothing to do with you being black and a man and none of that. It happens, it came up because they had a 3-year investigation with a 98% conviction rate. Chances are they've been investigating you for 3.5 years and they have everything that they need from eye in the sky to you accepting gifts and committing promises. Had nothing to do with you being a brother. I said the same thing about PG Sittenfield, who's much more powerful than you and has a lot more influence in the city. I said when an indictment came down, if they would have just charged, if it would have been a state case and y'all would have just got charged, I would not have said what I said. But when the feds get you, they got you. So yes, I was one of those, he said radio or podcast personalities who said he was guilty before any evidence came out. That's not necessarily true. But when I seen a federal indictment, yeah, I kind of leaned on the fact that they probably got your ass on tape. And I know that they did. The feds are not going to come out here and say, well, we think we got enough information. They're not going to file an indictment. They're not going to file a charge on you and go to a secret indictment, maybe. They're not going to go get an indictment on your ass until they know they got you webbed up. Been saying that for years. They knew they had you. Now, what you need to do, here's what you need to do, because I already know, because you know the person is up there. One of the people up there, I don't know, I don't want to say too much. You should ask yourself, who put them boys on you? One of them never went to jail. 2 of them actually never went to jail. Ask him that type of shit. Like, wait a minute, Mr. Pastor, who made the introduction? Who introduced you to this particular person who turned out to be a federal agent? How did that connection happen? Anybody heard that story yet? Anybody? We already know how we already know how PG Sittenfield got connected. We already know who introduced PG to the feds as being, colleagues working and we're going to do these numbers. Anybody ask him, how did he get introduced to the feds? Nope. Nobody ever asked. Wouldn't that be like, if you really from that spot and you really want to know the truth about what's going on with some shit, wouldn't you ask those questions? I ain't saying that I'm trying to bury nobody, but he went to jail. I respect the fact that he went to jail and did his time. Do I respect that I ain't no snitch shit? I guess. I don't know. I don't like that type shit, to be honest with you. I don't really like when people come out here and think that's some type of moral high ground. I ain't snitch. I ain't check my paperwork. I ain't no motherfucking snitch. Nigga, motherfucker, I'm gonna do my time. Done 3 in the hot cots and all this old goofy ass shit. Then come out here and talk about how the man did this shit to you. That's some goofy shit, man. That's some goofy shit. Twin, I hope Twin is here today. I got something. You know what? I got something I want to talk to you about right here live on the air, because you love to call me on some I'm pump faking, I'm this, I'm that. Y'all don't know. Twin be going at me sometime, and Twin be sending me messages and shit, and he be challenging me on some of the things that I say. Y'all think that our conversations only happen right here and right now, and that he don't like. He comes around and he agrees with everything I say. No, we've probably had some back and forth conversations about what it is that he now agrees with me on. Maybe he changed his stance. I'm not talking about in all cases. I'm talking about in some cases. I got one for him right now. Let me ask you guys something. I got to roll back a little bit in time. And for those that get tired of you hearing me say, well, I told you. Well, this ain't going to be one of your best moments, okay? This is going to be one of them moments where you're probably going to not like me because, or you're just going to say, he loved to think he know everything. Well, generally, my truths don't happen to come out right away. Just like this pastor thing, PG thing, that shit is 3 years ago, and it's now coming out the way I told you it was playing out and all of that shit, okay? But now let me back up to something that's going on in the city of Cincinnati. And then I got to address, if somebody can remind me to address this situation that Jeff Pastor said about if he didn't catch, because this is the funniest shit in the world, if he didn't catch these Fed charges, that things wouldn't be what they are in the city with these kids shooting one another. Mr. Pastor, let me just say, I'm going to say this before I go to the twin thing. Let me just say this to you. I don't think you was going to make that much of a difference, sir. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I mean it in a way that I think it's out of control what the kids are doing. How I know it's out of control is Cincinnati is not the only place that these things are happening. If you notice, did you all see what I sent in the Wyatt Live Messenger group this morning? One of the most prestigious malls in Ohio, Eastern Mall. You've heard me talk about it a million times. It's one of the best malls in Ohio. Classy stores, nice restaurants. It's a great place to be. Well, they have the same problem up in Columbus, Ohio. That's where Eastern Mall happens to be. With the children running around the mall fighting and doing a bunch of shit that's disruptive, and they got to put curfews on. So, Mr. Pastor, they're doing the shit in all these cities that's designed just like Cincinnati. You would not have made that difference, sir. They're doing the same shit in Indianapolis with the same makeup of council and the same makeup of a mayor and the same makeup of the police chief and the same type of judges, the same type of ruling in those cities. They design the same way, and they're getting the same type of production and reaction from the people. You would not have been able to make a difference, sir. All you would have been able to do is bring it to the people's attention. Well, hell, I'm doing that. I can do that. The chief of police in Cincinnati, Ohio, tried to do it. Now, let me ask y'all something. Am I crazy? But did somebody say that the chief of police got in trouble for doing things without asking her boss? Didn't I hear that from some people? Didn't I hear y'all say that she was being subordinate? That was part of the problem. She was not able to, she can't just do what she wants to do. But then I hear today that the new police chief or the new interim police chief enforced SWAT full time and didn't tell anybody. Isn't that a removable? Shouldn't that person be fired for doing some shit with the police department without running it by the city manager or the mayor or whoever's in charge? How are you going to make that type of call without getting permission from your supervisor? See, that this is the shit that I be talking. Liars, it's very hard to cover up lies when you're doing it in broad daylight and when you're doing it on programs and when you say, oh, well, Chief Fiji was making decisions. And first of all, the decision that she made, I've been wanting to say this for a minute. I know I'm jumping a little bit, but these are things been on my mind a few days. Y'all said that Chief Fiji made a decision about a group of police chiefs getting together to do something, which was not really Cincinnati business. That she didn't make a decision that Cincinnati was going to form this meeting and do some things. She involved herself. She got in a meeting with other chiefs around the area, right? And they all were going to work in coalition and do some things and try to work together. Why do you need your supervisor's permission to go to a meeting and listen to what other problems the other police chiefs have and what remedies they coming up with? That's not necessarily that's not losing the confidence of your supervision of your manager, city manager, or your mayor. They should be applauding you for working with other police chiefs to hear what's working for them and what's not working for them. Y'all act like that woman went up there and told us some type of shit that she was going to implement on force. Like if she would have went up there and did something like this. Well, y'all, I know this is that meeting. This is that press conference they had. Say I'm Fiji and I got up on the stage and I said, well, I know the mayor back here. I know the city manager here. I don't very seldom see, I see that they here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make SWAT full time now. I ain't talked to them about it. I ain't told them shit about it yet, but that's what I'm going to do. That should get you fired. Because now you're spending money. You're putting people, you're making decisions without your supervision, without the people that's running shit approving it. But that's not what she did. She did just the opposite. All she did was say, I am going to work with other police chiefs around the surrounding area, and we're going to a meeting, and we're going to talk about these things, and we're going to come up with some solutions. That don't mean that she had already had solutions and she had start acting on it. Lies come up, and I mean, but the new police chief, the interim, and I could be totally wrong, but this is what I heard. All right. And I don't mean I heard it like, oh, I'm saying they're saying that the police chief, the interim police chief, is now making SWAT full time. And the mayor and the city manager didn't know about it. I would think that if I was the manager of the city and you spent that kind of money without me knowing or signing off or approving it, yeah, that's a fireable offense. But I could be wrong. They might have told they may have told the interim chief, do what you got to do. Here's the budget. Emmanuel said if she did what she was accused of, she was out of order. I don't think so, E. What was she accused of? She was accused of doing something that she didn't run by her supervisors. Now, here's the thing. I don't know how it is to work for a union, to work somewhere and work in a union. I've only worked one place that ever had a union, and I was not part of it. So I wasn't under the same restrictions. But I will say this. Let me ask you this question. If I work in a warehouse and they have a union and I'm in the union, and I go to a meeting somewhere else about some things that's against the unions, can I get fired? I haven't done anything. I haven't implemented anything. I haven't signed on to anything. I don't think I can get fired just for attending a meeting. I didn't make my staff do anything according to these meetings. All I said is I am going to start going to a meeting that has other police chiefs, and we're going to start talking about some of the problems and some of the things we have in our area, and we're going to try to come up with some solutions together. That's all she said. Now, I don't know if that meant that she had to spend the money and get a hall made up, get an assembly, pay the donuts and coffee. Maybe she didn't have the budget for all that old stuff. I don't know. It don't even matter to me. But what she said that she was going to do, I don't think that had anything to do with the city. Go back and watch that press conference. All she said is she was about to get together with other chiefs of police, and they were going to talk about some of the things that they're going through in their cities or in their areas. That's all she said she was going to do. Now, before y'all start thinking I'm taking up for this lady, I am not taking up for her. I told you off the blank. She was playing ball with them, and they used her. And just like anybody else who has a job, if you don't want to lose your job, you either play with us or go away. She played with them. And then when it got real busy and heavy and sweaty in the box, then they got rid of her. And now she want to turn around and start telling the truth about all this time that when it was, nah. I don't rock with people like that. You should have been telling the truth when you were in position to be honest with the people. But you were trying to keep your job. You were playing with the team, and you were trying to keep your job. So if long as they had your back when you was doing something wrong, it was all good. I don't rock with people like that. I don't rock with people like that. All right, twin. Where do I start with this? I have so much to say about some other stuff, but I really want to address this. I don't know if Twin is still here, but let me remind y'all of something, because I heard somebody sent, in the Wyatt Live Messenger group, some stories have been put in, quite a few stories have been put in the Wyatt Live Messenger group, but I also have a private page, and a couple people sent me some things about the grocery store in Avondale. You all thought I was being an ass about the grocery store, when in fact I wasn't. I was just coming from a business perspective. I was telling y'all, when a store takes a long time to open, and when they do open, they're not really prepared, these are the repercussions. These are the repercussions. Now, the only thing that we've heard good, and I don't mean this nasty, I mean it in a way just so I can bring some attention to stop massaging certain issues, because massages don't fix a damaged situation. You can't massage a broken leg and think that it's gonna fix itself. Twin and I had a conversation. I don't know if it was a year ago. I don't know when it was. Maybe it was over the summer. I can't even remember. Twin went off. Twin went off on me right on the air. It wasn't nasty. He said something to the nature of, they just doing those people any old kind of way. They've been trying to open for all this time, and they just making it hard for them people to open. And what was my position on that, Twin? Do you remember? Because you sure did try to make it sound like that I was on the whoever team that was trying to hold some black folks down from opening a store in the black community and this and this and that. And I was like, Twin, you don't even know if it's what it is. It could be the state having regular. That's what I'm talking about. It's the state. They don't want them to open up. And they've been sitting there. And I talked to some people that work there, and they said, remember all that shit? Remember all that? And I was like, twin, you don't know. I said, have you talked to one of the owners? No, I talked to somebody that worked there. Okay, well, they probably don't know the real reason why the ownership group has not opened that location yet. It may have something to do with anything and everything you know nothing about. And I asked the question, how many people on here have ever opened up a grocery store? Not many of us, including myself, could raise their hand. And I said, I'm sure when you're dealing with food, when you're dealing with certain things that's, regulations with the state, there are things that you're going to have to, you're going to have to comply, okay, with regulation. And why they're taking a year or two to even open, it may have nothing to do with, it's a black store, they trying to open in the black neighborhood and they don't never want us to have no equity. I said, twin, it could be something way different than that. I said, and here's the thing, when they opened, what happened? What happened? They didn't even have the EBT. Now, 100% of their competition in that area all carry EBT accounts, able to take EBT cards. And without getting in their pocket and doing all this pocket watching and all that old shit, as a businessman, I don't have to know how much money they have or pocket watch them to know that business was not significant. It was not ready to open. You can tell by the shelves. You can tell by the supply chain, the suppliers that they have. You can tell the fact that they opened up and didn't have EBT. You can tell. This had nothing to do with people that have this conspiracy theory if they don't want black businesses opening in the black community. It's not that. It's just sometimes we just don't know what the fuck we doing. And nobody wants to say that. It's about knowledge, not necessarily, the things that we think of that's so easy to blame. I'm not happy to hear that they're having issues. I just want some of the same politicians that went over there and took them photo ops with the shovels and the hats and the walking in and buying a bag of fucking Grippos and walking out. Where are they now? How is it that SK over there got shit sitting on the shelf? He got hot sauce sitting on the shelf and all type of shit over there. SA. You got people from other communities that don't even cater to black folks. Thriving. Remember the story I just gave y'all on Thursday about, they don't use food stamps anymore. It's the EBT. It's the direct deposit. Now the bank tellers don't have to sit there and count $100,000 worth of food stamps that they collected over the 30-day period in our community. Now they can just go straight to the bank and look on it on their bank statement and their electronic banking of how much EBT deposit has been put in the account. How do they do that shit? You know what? Let me tell y'all something. Go into Costco's or Sam's and look at how many foreigners are in there and do you really think they need 10 cases of bottled water? Do you really think they buying 17 bags of Cheetos, 17 boxes of Cheetos for their home? Do you really think they in there buying a box of Snickers to keep in they ups in they cap? No, for the things that they can't do supply wise, they go buy some at a wholesale store, a big box store like a Costco's or a Sam's. They do that. Few people got mad at me. Few people got mad at me and said, man, you can't be counting their money. Here's what I said that a few people got a little upset that I said this. I don't know. Maybe you've started a business. Maybe you haven't. It doesn't matter. I can tell it doesn't matter. I said a business should not start. You should not function as a business, especially a service industry business, if you don't have 6 months of capital working for you. If you don't have at least 6 months where if nobody comes in your door, you can still function, you can still make payroll, you can still pay the trash company, you can still do things. You can still function as a business. And 6 months was the minimum. I said you really need a year. But if I say that, everybody will really flip mode out. Y'all flip out. But I just broke it down to 6 months. If you can't function as a business without someone, like without you being swamped, without you selling your products out, and if you can't function of 6 months worth of bad business, you're not ready to open your business yet. Oh, you don't want them to open. That's not right. That's not what it is. Ron Dula says they have a store on Finley Market. They have the capital. Okay. It don't look like it. And just because you have a store in the mall at Finley Market, in Indian Hill, I don't care where the location is. Just because you're present there don't necessarily mean you doing enough numbers to support another store. You could possibly barely be making it in the store that you have right there. That's like being a barber and saying, you know what I'm gonna do? Shit, I'm making enough money now where I can survive week to week. So now what I'm going to do now is I'm gonna open another shop. You know what generally happens to people who open up multiple locations? They usually die. The second location usually don't work, and it actually kills your first location because you start giving too much attention to the second location. And your first location starts slipping. Your service goes down. Ron Dula says they have a theft problem. They don't have a capital problem. No. I can't dispute that. But I will say that's not what's keeping them from keeping shit on the shelf. Okay? I mean, that might sound why has everybody else been able to stay open in those areas, Ron Dula? They got padlock breaks on the Reese cups and shit over there, but the black business don't? Come on, man. Stop making up excuses for bad business. There's something going on when you just can't stay in business, but everybody around you is staying in business. Okay, there's just something going on. There's a bad business practice somewhere. Maybe you're over your head in areas that you didn't know. Maybe the rent is too high. Maybe the gas and electric bill was too high. Maybe they didn't see a $115 water bill hitting them every month. Maybe the insurance cost is too high. These are things that you have to break down on your spreadsheet before you even get started. Let me go to the phone lines real fast. Good afternoon, caller. This is Wyatt. Who am I speaking with?
What's up, Wyatt?
Twin, what's good with you, brother? How you doing?
I ain't doing too good. You trying to front my Smitty, y'all.
I'm not fronting. I'm just going. Did we not have that conversation?
No, you lying though, twin. That was my brother. Get it right. I'm just playing.
I know you're playing. You got to be, because this is a conversation we had.
Had the conversation and we was back and forth. Then we had one off the air or whatever.
We did. And
And
all I
my
would
killer ain't I man up, take accountability for this my action, what I see. And I was just going off, I was mad and stuff, because I don't know how, the business work like that.
and that's what I
I
was trying
looked
to
at
tell
it
you.
at a mad point of view.
Exactly.
How Habib and the Patel family can get something in the hood so fast and we can't. But he explained himself, Wyatt, and I'm glad he did. He came on Lincoln Ware Show and said, hey, with the government shut down, I mean, not the government shut down at the time, it was Trump administration and stuff, and getting rid of people in the government and all that, government workers. He explained that it took time to get some type of permit or something like that to open it up. And then they not having some on the shelves and all that is they supplier who he was going to. I don't know, it wasn't working out, or they was costing too much to get the product, or I forgot how he explained it. But who he was getting the supply from, it was something like that. I don't know, the price was up or they went out of business or something. So he had to go to somebody else to order the product from. That's why they weren't getting the stuff on the shelves like that.
Okay. So
Yeah, he explained himself
okay.
how why people EBT weren't working and how he wasn't getting the stuff on shelf because he probably was getting in there and like, man, they don't want to do business with me or the price is too high. I gotta go to somebody else.
So let me ask you, twin. Remember when? Let's just go back to the beginning of the conversation.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
long did it take them to open that business?
It what did it say, a year or two? They was about to
No,
open
no.
up
I
and it
mean,
was
why
delayed.
why were you mad? Because you were the one that was upset that they hadn't opened up yet.
Because I had clients and stuff and they wanted to go there. And then I'm like, man, if the Patel, one of them Indian, one of them can open up so fast, why it gotta be us on the delay?
But see, why is that the argument? Why is
The
it?
argument,
Why is
okay,
the
why we gotta
argument?
be the last totem pole? Why we gotta get the crumb? Give me a piece of that pie. I don't want the crumb. I want a piece of the pie
No,
too,
that's
man.
that's
Why
not
we
what
always gotta get the crumb?
that's not what we're talking about of who get what
What
portion of
part
what.
what
I'm
part you want to
asking
talk about
I'm
then?
asking you, why did you put other people into the factor of why it's taken this business so long to open?
Because I had people wondering like, hey, I'll be glad when this black owned restaurant store open up. I ain't gotta go to Sable all the way up the street and all. I said, man, don't worry about it. I'm gonna see get some info about it. I'll take you to Sable all just wherever you want to go. That was my concern. And people was like right there. Stay right there.
So
The clients I was
so
dealing
why
with.
was
And
it
they
but
and then they
why
want to wait on the bus and stuff. Why?
but why was it someone else's fault that the store didn't open? How
You
did
can't
you
blame nobody but the owner. I mean, you can't blame nobody, like he said, but the government. Whatever permit, whatever wire that they was missing for him to open the store up, which he explained himself, that I went off that because it was delayed because of government Trump got rid of the government, so it's paperwork and all that had to
no
be done, and
no, that was the
you know
excuse for the EBT not having an account for EBT.
no, this
Yes, it
before
was.
the store, man.
Okay. All right, twin.
That's what he was saying. It was
Okay.
before, after the EBT.
So
That was something
this
else
was
too,
not so
I
basically
believe.
there's still no lesson here in it for you. You just basically believe that somebody was slow rolling this business from opening when in fact this business has had nothing. And I find it to be shameful because I really want them to prosper. I want them to do well. But I'm asking you, I mean, you don't think that customers in that area are walking
Hmm.
past there, seeing that there's nothing on the shelf, and then going to spend their money with Tito or Tonto, whoever. They're spending their money in other stores for a reason. Now, what is that reason?
Because no products on the
Okay,
shelf.
so has there ever been a good period of time for this business that's been over in Avondale? I haven't heard of a good period of time since they've been there, even before
No,
it
they just
opened.
opened up this summer, I believe.
Right.
I believe this year, right?
So maybe what I was trying to tell you is they're not ready to open the store. That's not a bad thing. But what we don't need are people in the background trying to explain that the business is not opening because the black people don't want they trying to make it tough for the black people in the black neighborhood. They don't want us to have we get the crumbs and everybody else. That's not always the case. Sometimes there are factors involved that stop businesses like what they're doing, like this business here, from opening. All right, it has nothing to do with all these different things that you're talking about. Sometimes it's internal. I would have never opened that store if I didn't have my EBT set up. You have another location down at Findlay Market. I don't believe the story. I'm sorry. You can't have EBT at one location and have it at the other. Sure you can. You can use the same account unless it's two different businesses. Now, if it's two different businesses, I understand. But if you're running
how many people in that area you think got EBT though, man?
How many people in what area?
In Avondale.
Everybody. Not everybody.
Okay, then. So I'm gonna put an EBT in that store.
Okay, twin.
Some people ain't got no. I understand what you coming from clearly, White. But hey, I gotta make it fair for people out in Avondale too. This is my customer down the way. I gotta have EBT here too. Folks shopping here. Hey, they got EBT, even though they still get their Kool-Aid check once a month. But I gotta make my customers happy too, just like I do them down the way.
I'm not disputing any of that, bro.
No, I understand clearly what you're saying, Wyatt. But my concern is, to be honest, Wyatt, my concern was, it's just what I was thinking at the moment. And it just came to my mind, like, man, if them Patel firms open up so fast and all that, why they can't do it why the black folks got to be on delay? That's my concern, man.
But
you come in our hood and all that, the Patel firm, we set up shop, Pony Keg, gas station, we there.
Okay, how long did it take?
When it come to us, it's a problem.
How long did it take the convenience store that's owned by Tito over there? How long did it take him to open?
Probably not that long.
How you know? You just said probably. That means I don't know.
Man, let me tell you something, man. If you go to Wynn Terrace, Jacobs Market, Marcus Market, Israel Market, they have 50 goddamn owners of that store. Come on, man. Don't take that long. Sign the paperwork. Don't take that long. But when it comes to us, it's a problem.
Okay.
That's my concern. It's a problem when it comes to black folks, man. You see it. If I go out there to the Indian Hills somewhere and they think I want to open up there, I bet you it's gonna be a problem. Well, what's this nigga doing out here? Why he just stay over there in Avondale somewhere?
But that's not the case. You're making up.
They stereotype us all the way through, man. Stop playing, man.
Bruh.
Stop it, man.
You're creating.
I know you know business, but damn it, wake up.
Okay, I'm sleep on this one, twin.
No, you
still don't know what I'm talking about. I'm telling you what you're moving to go. What your point you trying to make has nothing to do with what I'm saying right now.
I know what you're saying, Wyatt, but it's just how twin feel. That's my concern. How I feel I don't know really about this, but this is how I feel and how I see things. I was taking this but they can get something quick, but we can't. That don't make sense to me, man. We pay tax dollars, been here longer than them. But we always got to be the last one on totem pole. That shouldn't be right.
So you think, let me just ask you, because I hear you.
Yeah,
and I don't disagree with some of the things that you're saying. But what I'm asking you, in this particular case, do you think that that something was used against this particular market for them to be moving the way they moving right now? Do you think that somebody held something up on them, like building permits? Do you think that type of stuff was put in place so they would not be able to succeed?
It was something in the game, man.
Okay.
It was something in the game.
Why would you think they would do that to what they call a food desert?
Well, you got the new administration in there. He got rid of the government and all that, but it was something in the game that stopped that from opening up when he said he was going to open. And they finally opened. It was something that stopped. I don't know. I wish he would explain it more, but I really don't know.
This don't have anything to do with administration, okay? This is all about how you structured your business and how you weren't ready to open, and that's why you're still having problems. Let me ask you this.
Remember you had said it probably didn't get the light bulb certificate or the elevator certificate. Remember you said that?
Right.
And then I said, and then I went off.
What, right, and there's no room to go off. It's no one's responsibility to get those things. You have to meet state requirements. You have to meet
You're
city
right.
requirements.
You broke it down to me, broke it down dummy terms to me how it is and stuff, and I listened to it. Did I believe you or not? I probably did at the time.
But all I'm saying,
but with the time we was on air, but you had broke it down to me though, Wyatt.
Okay,
the reason why.
Right. And all I was trying to do was calm you down from making all these assumptions of why this business was not able to get off the ground. Now that it's off the ground, it's pretty much been on the runway the entire time that it's been open. They haven't really been able to take off for one reason over the other.
There's two things, Wyatt. It's theft and it's the
who said it was theft? I'm curious. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm asking you. Oh, that's your opinion?
No, I believe he said it was theft, and it's the people that he was his suppliers that he was getting it from.
So you're so let me ask you, because I'm just curious, because I hadn't heard that. Are you saying that theft is the reason why he can't keep his shelves full? Is that what he said?
He said theft. He said a little bit of theft, and then he said supplier, where he was getting his product from. And everything, I believe he was getting his product from that I don't know if they was high on prices or he had to go with somebody else or something like that. The people that he would normally get it from, that because you got a delay. You get like 3 or 4 trucks probably. He probably, since he a nice size grocery store, he could probably get like 3 or 4 deliveries a week. And so wherever he's getting it from, the prices probably went up or they went out of business or somehow he didn't want to do business with him no more. He was finding somebody else in the work.
Oh, man, that shit sound crazy as hell, man. If you
know, it don't sound crazy.
Yeah, it sounds very crazy. I mean, let me tell you why.
Think it is,
let me tell you why it sounds crazy. Because his competition stayed open and they got shit on the shelf. And when his competition, and let me just say something to you, as a business owner, whatever other stores are in the neighborhood, there's people that's walking past his store going somewhere else.
There's only one store in the neighborhood, Wyatt.
No.
What other store in the radius around him?
There's more than one just store. People
what other store radius around him, Wyatt?
All I can
what
tell
you talking
you
about? Kroger's about 3 miles up, 4 miles up. Save a lot about 2-3 miles up. What radius you talking about, Wyatt?
It's not all about groceries, though, bro. They have other things on the shelves that are not just groceries. It's not just the meat market.
Man, they want meat, man. Pork chops, liver. They want that, man.
Okay, twin. That's
South meat.
That is not the only way you're gonna keep your doors open. There's
whenever he was getting it, like he explained, wherever he was getting it from, they wrong price or something, or they went out of business or something.
Okay, all right. See.
There has to be something in the game about that. I don't know. The way he was explaining it. High prices, or he didn't like, they went out of business.
Okay, it sounds you making up shit, twin, right now. It sounds like you just trying to throw a life raft in the water for some shit you don't really know nothing about. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I'm telling you as a business owner.
You mean it disrespectful because you said it out your damn mouth.
No, what I'm telling you
but I can take it, though.
No, what I'm saying to you, brother, is businesses, you learn to run audibles and you make adjustments during the halftime or whatever. You don't just not have product. You go do what some of these foreigners do. You fill your shelves up with big box product.
Right, he been in the game the same way he doing down that same market. He can elaborate on that. What am I doing wrong that I can do right, like I'm doing down the way I can do here? He should go off that playbook.
It might
be still joking.
It's probably a different situation. Okay. I mean, not all retail run the same. It all depends on the product. I mean, I believe that Findlay Market might just be a weekend business and it's probably a hand over fish type of business. You probably don't have to keep a shelf stocked. You probably don't have to, stock your shelves like you do a full-time.
That's an everyday business, man. He's been down there for a long time.
Maybe so, but most people go on the weekends, so I don't really know about that. But it's probably not as large and captive as a community store. Okay, a community store at that level. I mean, let me just say this for the record. It's an amazing looking store. I've never been in it, but I've seen their advertisement and I've seen their, the online thing that they have.
It's nice. I can't say that.
It's an amazing looking store. But my thing is, how did we get to a point of people. See, here's the thing. I think I have a lot of my opinion, y'all. Let me just be honest. A lot of my opinion is coming from some of the comments I read from people that live in Avondale. This is not me. This is not me just saying, oh, this happened, blah, blah, blah. No, I've seen some comments by people who live in Avondale and saying, hey, they don't have this and this and this and this and that and blah, 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 blah. So I'm not going by people who making assumptions. I'm going by people who said, I went there and they didn't have this. I went there and this was going on. I went there and I had to go to such and such and other stuff. So
you go to Kroger's and say that? Do you go to White Castle, KFC, and all them other stores say that?
Yeah.
So we the only one clown our own self.
No, that's not true. There's stores that I've gone to that just don't fulfill my needs anymore, and I don't even bother to go there.
We the one shamed our own people.
No. There's been situations where when I was in Cincinnati, there's a particular Kroger that I don't go to anymore because they don't keep their floors clean, and then they have fruit they don't keep their stuff in good condition.
Well,
I don't go there anymore.
Thing.
Right. So if it's not an option for me anymore, I'll go to one somewhere else. See what I'm saying?
That's
so
true.
yeah, I mean, no. So no, I don't just do that to my Black-owned business. Matter of fact, I'm an advocate for my Black-owned businesses. Now, if this conversation could lead up to them doing something different, or if there's a situation going on, this only came up, Twin, because I don't like when people start arguments about why something didn't get done or who's being treated a different kind of way. And the reason why they're not able to open is because of these reasons that we know absolutely not to be true. We don't know if they're true or not. And now that you see that they're open, look at the issues that they're having. And the issues coming as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a person who has started few companies. The biggest problem you run into when you're not ready is capital, not fulfilling shelves, not being able to supply the customers the product. That tells me a lot. There are several places that you as a grocery store can buy product from. You don't have to buy from a particular wholesale chain, a supplier. There's options out there. And when you don't even go do those options, that tells me a lot more than that tells me what I need to know about that situation.
Hey, you might try to go the cheap way, somebody put them on game to go that way. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not there. But just outside looking in, and I'm like, man, why he use the same game as he did from down the way? I don't know
because
why.
It's a different business. I'm telling you, I just have a different. I mean,
it's same business, is different, different style or whatever.
Okay, well, that all being said, I thought I just wanted to bring that.
Yeah, I know. You try to get out on me, but you all right for right now.
No, I didn't try to get down on you. I just remember.
I'm just messing with you, man. I know.
We got the conversation, and you was going hard.
Understand.
You were going hard. I didn't have a problem with you going hard. I love the fact that you had
Man, come on, that's all love, man. Hey, anytime the feds come in knocking at your door, Wyatt, they got something on you.
On that person, yeah.
On that person.
Yeah.
They got something on you. About 98% of the time, they got something on you. Anytime they knock, I never hit a Fed case or nothing. But Wyatt, he stood on code. And he had to be, see, when you're a politician, usually you got to do some corrupt issues and stuff. Just like it was what they call the Gang of Five or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Currently out the way. The old dude, I forgot his name, he out the way. You ain't hear nothing else about him. So you got three more left, PG, Pastor, and what's the other one name? It was Prather too, and Crantley.
Prather don't have nothing to do with them.
And Tamaya Denard.
Prather didn't have nothing to do with them.
Weren't you part of the Gang of Five too?
No.
Okay. No. Take off the list then. Okay. You got to take one for the team. It was that Ndukwe dude that started. I believe he started the whole thing. Sent it to the feds and all that. Hey, I got some. So, for them, somebody got to take one for the team. It was Tamaya Denard and it was Pastor. PG, he was guilty as all outdoors. I don't care what nobody say. Anytime they wiretap you on that phone and you talking about making this and you want your vote, just like the Glory Vision sold Obama seat, and he was dead as nailed to the cross. So I look at it like this. Is he wrong? Man, I don't know, man. It's too hard.
Wrong. Too wrong.
And you had plenty of time, Pastor, to do something for the community and all this violence. You had plenty of time. All of a sudden you get in jail. Oh, if I was out and stuff and all that, I could have, helped to kill and stop the crime. No, you can't.
Well, that was
no,
crazy.
you could.
That was crazy. That
no,
was
you could. I ain't listened to him. I was asleep at the time, and I knew he was coming on, but I fell asleep. But when you just said that, there's been plenty of people before you, Pastor, that can so-called stop crime, but you can't stop crime, man. You can't do it.
Well, I think that leadership can reduce crime heavily if they take the right path.
Yeah.
I've heard people say,
they know they can. Yeah, they can.
I've heard,
but they don't want to.
Well,
they don't want to.
I don't. Here's the thing. Here's
man, they get paid off us, man.
Right. Let me just say this to you. I want to say this, and I mean this sincerely. I hear you. I know what you're saying. I'm going to say this, and I might be going out on a limb. I don't think that politicians don't want to stop crime. I think that the people who are over the politicians, the shadow leaders, are the ones that understand.
The people that own the prison pipeline and all that. It's a revolving door, man.
The people who make their money off of all of these different programs.
Yeah.
And I mean, all these little, you get your money funded through different reasons. You got to have reasons to get this money sent to you from state to city and all that. And if you don't have certain things going on, if you educate everybody in the Cincinnati public school, and when they graduate, they're off to do amazing things, and they're less likely to be a criminal out here, then that's just one less program that's going to have to be started. You're not going to have to push $1.2 million to crime prevention. You're not going to have to do certain things that's going to put money and provide jobs to certain people. Those things are put in place for a reason. But let's just say, what if those reasons were what if those reasons weren't there anymore? See what I'm saying? So I hear you. I don't know if all politicians don't want to stop crime. That's kind of ridiculous. But I will say that there are some that might not take those extra steps to maybe figure out how we can reduce some of it. Because here's the thing. Giving the police department in Cincinnati $5.4 million don't necessarily stop crime if you are not using the 5.4. It's not about how you spend the money. It's how you work the resources. How do we have people out here committing 2 or 3 crimes while they're out on bond with very little or no supervision at all? If your repeat, I don't want to call them customer, but if your repeat offender is constantly out committing crimes, then how do we stop that? That has nothing to do with 5.4 million. 5.4 million is how you get the person incarcerated. It's having the tools and the equipment to be able to incarcerate somebody. But now, how do we keep them incarcerated so they won't commit a second or a third offense while they're out? That's nothing.
A judge and a prosecutor situation.
Exactly.
And we ain't got nothing to do with that. We voted him in there, but that's a judge and prosecutor situation. If that judge know he been out and doing this, got a rap sheet of the same repeat, then that's your fault, Judge. You let him out. You knew he was gonna go. He got a gun. He go back out there and say, "Hey, I got to get surgery and all that." He go get popped off again with another gun. Just like that happened. I'm talking about a situation last week, a week before.
It happens all the time.
Was already on probation for a gun. Oh, I got to get surgery. They let him out. Now he get caught with another gun and crash the car, shoot somebody, did something stupid.
Well,
so that's a judge and prosecutor fault for that
but
one.
It's not just the judge and prosecutor fault. If you live in
who set the bond?
The judge sets a bond, or a magistrate, a judge or a
prosecutor
magistrate.
Bring it up. Hey, in '98, he shot such a car. What's it called? In 2002, he had a gun. 2025, he had another gun.
Right. The prosecutor can only present the case, the subject's case. That's all they can do. They have nothing. Now they can go in and say
they can set a bond.
No, they can't.
Why they can? Okay, it's up to, okay, you're right. They can't set a bond. They can recommend, like, judge,
They can
we
only
recommend
recommend.
10 million.
They can only
And it's up to the
recommend.
judge to say whatever, if he agree or not.
A judge or a magistrate. That's it.
A magistrate, then it go to a higher up, the judge then. Magistrate, when you're in front of preliminary, whatever they call it, before you go to trial.
Preliminary. But yes. But my point is this. If you have a city, now I thought I heard my brother E say something about it wouldn't be wise for city council to be able to go down there and talk to judges and stuff. I don't think he understands, and I don't mean this disrespect to my brother. I don't think he understands the position that I take on them being able to do that. It's not asking your mayor to go down there and tell judges what people's bonds should be, but a mayor or a city manager should have, just as they have the protection of the police department, the way they manage the police department and make sure that the police do their job and make sure that the city is safe. If you see a flaw in your protection in your city, okay, you have to
say so.
You have to address it. And if that means you have a ton of people committing crimes that are out on bond or whatever, you as the city manager or the mayor should address that with your. You
think it ever happened, Wyatt? Have you ever heard of it happen here?
In the city of Cincinnati?
Yeah, any mayor or any city local leader went down there to the judge like, hey man, why is this happening?
In Cincinnati?
Yeah.
I don't think
all this crime and stuff up like this, you think?
No, because the police chief said she made a recommendation to the mayor, and the mayor
I remember she said that, and she said he vetoed
it. No, she said that he never even took it in consideration. He said no. Okay, so yeah, I mean, she made that publicly clear. 2 years ago, I did an interview with her down at the Justice Center at the courthouse, and I asked her why her and the city council won't go talk to the judges and find out a new strategy. And she walked away. I mean, respectfully, she walked away. I could see it in her body language, in her face, that she understood what I was talking about. Now, 2 years later, she bring it up in front of the crowd when she gets fired, and she says she's made suggestions to the mayor that they do this. You can't tell. Let me ask y'all a question. Let me ask you a question, twin. A dude, what was it? Thursday night football. Cincinnati was playing a game, right? They played a Thursday night football game. And after the game, a few hours later, a man was shot downtown outside of a nightclub 23 times.
23 times.
23 times, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you, do you really think that was just a random shooting? Or do you think, wait a minute, hold on. Let me get it all the way out, because I did ask you, but let me get it all the way out. Do you think that was a random shooting, or do you think that was an act? That
was a hit.
Exactly. That was you're not going to testify.
Hit.
You're not going to testify.
You stole my pack, or you set me up. Or you're 23 times. He crucified that boy. Well, that was a hit, man.
He got hit 23 times. I guarantee you there was more shells than 23. No one's perfect.
Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Nobody going to hit you 23 times, shooting 20. There had to probably be 30 shots at that man. Okay? At least. So my point is, when you live in an area where you have people out here that are going after the people that are out here on the streets that are testifying against people, it is up to your judicial system to get that under order. You can't ask your police department to do that. They can't control who walk the streets. They can only lock them up and hope that the judicial system do what needs to be done in order for them to stay where they need to stay for the protection of the community. Right. Okay, that's the protection of the community. Now, there is a reason why you would want your city council members to be able to go to not only your prosecutor's office, just like we were talking about, the prosecutor didn't. I'll give you a perfect example. The prosecutor in Cincinnati did not prosecute any of the white people at the brawl, right?
Right.
So who went to the prosecutor's office, city solicitor's office, and asked them to take action toward the Russian? Who did that?
The actors and some of the city leaders.
Exactly. I'm sure that city council took their ass down there and asked questions of the prosecutor's office. You see what I'm saying? Why didn't y'all do this to this person? We see this on camera. We see that. Now, they wasn't being all the way honest, but you can't have it both ways. You can't say that the city council shouldn't have anything to do with the public safety of the city, and then want the city council to get involved when it's time for a Russian to get indicted or get hit. You see what I'm saying? So you can't have it both ways. It's got to be one way or the other. That's all I'm saying. So all I'm saying to you, it is the duty. It is to the best interest of your city council to make sure your city is safe. Okay, and in order to make sure your city's safe, you're not just in charge. You might be in charge of the police department, but there's other factors involved that make your city unsafe if they're not being ran right.
Right.
And you know what? Y'all gonna see soon how that there's a lawsuit coming. I don't know if it's been publicized yet, but I got a few people on the inside that have told me that this lawsuit, and maybe it's out by now because it's been a week or a week and a half since I've had this conversation. But from my understanding, the city of Cincinnati is about to get sued by the Russian dude, all right, for him being charged in that case. Now, do you remember when we had this conversation some time ago, Twin, and I said no one goes and gets a lawyer for a jaywalking ticket, for a misdemeanor? I said he's not getting a lawyer for this reason. He's getting a lawyer because he's going to sue the city for how this happened, because no one filed a charge. Not one of the brothers or the sisters that got charged, the 13 or the 6 or 7, none of them filed a charge against the whites that were involved in the brawl. None of them stuck around and had a conversation with the police and said, this is what happened. I was called this. I did this. This guy hit me, so I hit him back. None of them stuck around and did that.
Right.
Okay. Most of them got caught up and got brought in with warrants.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So, you know, when you got people out here trying to tell you that somebody got done wrong, but yet the process was the normal process, the way it was handled was the way it was handled, you're going to get a loss. This Russian dude is going to sue the city for how that was done. I mean, I don't know how to explain it, because in real time I was telling y'all what's going to happen here, and here we are at it. But I don't know if that lawsuit has hit the public yet. I really don't know, but you'll see it. As soon as it does, you'll see it.
So did they ever charge him though?
Yeah, they charged him with a misdemeanor.
Oh, misdemeanor. And the rest of them got felonies, right?
Well, yeah.
Dang, that's crazy.
So you'll see.
Y'all
gonna see how bad you're gonna see how bad leadership operates. I mean, you know, you'll see it. And unfortunately, it's an unfortunate thing because we don't really hold our leaders accountable until something happens a certain kind of way. And once it happens that way, then they got all this to say. I just found it to be very disturbing that people would stand out here and push my people to believe one thing when in fact they knew for a fact that there was other cameras and other ways and how this case was going to be presented. They knew what they was talking about was not all the way. I don't want to call him a liar, but there had to be. You can't tell me the prosecutor had video and your city leadership didn't see it. You can't tell me that. I've been saying that since day one.
Yeah. Hey, Wyatt, ask this question for me, man. Answer this question for me. Hey, did you see that last week, a week before, when that kid was tied up?
I seen it, but I don't know anything about it.
What was your big? Okay, you the driver, and that kid acting up on you. What would be your correct protocol on that?
Okay, can I back up just a little bit? I'm glad you brought that up. I don't know anything about the case. I only seen a picture that came across that somebody put in the Wyatt Live Messenger group. All I seen was a kid that had been was he duct tied or something? Did he have some type of braces?
I don't know if it was some type of zip tie or something like that, or sock or something, or tape. Something that he was tied up. But you the driver at school transportation alternative, that's not first student or none of them, but it's some different type of transportation. But you the driver and that kid acting up. What would be your protocol on that case?
So let me understand. I'm going to answer, but I need to get a clear understanding. Are you saying to me that the bus driver tied that young man up like that?
Yes, the driver.
Oh, no, that's a no-no. Now, I don't know what the circumstances are.
Okay, he acted now. He's a, special kind of kid,
Okay.
autistic or something like that, or
Okay.
a kid that take Ritalins or some off
Yeah,
his med,
I
his
get it. I
meds
get it. I get
went
it.
down and stuff.
I get it.
As a driver, what would be your protocol on that?
Call the police.
Exactly.
I'm not tying up somebody's kid. I'll stop the bus. Everybody will get home when we get home. I'd stop the bus. If it was that bad that I had to tie somebody up, I would definitely stop the bus. I'd call in, I'd radio in and say, hey, at my next stop,
that's what I thought.
At my next spot, I would have to, I'm gonna wait for the police to come and take the young man away. Because look, first of all, I don't care unless this young man was physically harming anybody on the bus and I had to restrain him. That's the only way that I would do that. And I know that could have been the case. I don't know. But all I'm saying to you is it would take an extreme situation for me to restrain a kid on the bus, tie him up and put him in the corner or whatever and I don't even know what happened. But I just don't
off the meds, and you know how them kids. I've been around the situation, but the whole tie somebody up like a kid like that. No, you gotta, call, do protocol, man. Call dispatch, get an answer, see what they want you to do. He acting out crazy and all that. Well, you gotta call the police.
Yeah,
or something.
But you gotta understand the only reason why I would call the police is, first of all, if it got to a point where he had to be restrained, you definitely know you're at a point where the police need to be there. Because that's the only person, the police are the only people other than the kid's parent, who I don't have the phone number if I'm the bus driver. The police is the only person or the group of people that can take the liability off of me at this point. As a bus driver, I have a lot of liability with these children. Okay, so now, yes, I would call the police so that liability now falls out of my hand. I don't want the other kids to be in a position where they are at risk. Maybe this kid was becoming, no kid is just making a bunch of noise and hollering and screaming and blah, 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 and you tie them up like that. I would think, I would think that there had to be some type of physical thing going on with this kid for a person to want to tie him up. If not, then that bus driver is dead ass wrong. A hollering ass kid is not enough to just tie him up. I don't agree with that.
Probably kicking the seat or threatening him or some crazy stuff. To get tied up like that, he was doing something major.
I would think
we better tie you up.
I would think, without hearing the full story, I would think that, and you know how some of these kids can get crazy on the bus,
I know.
They can get out of hand. But no, that's why I would call dispatch, and I would tell dispatch, I got a situation with a child that's just not listening. They disruptive. They threatening other kids. They're being harmful. They're physically, what do I do?
Yeah.
I can guarantee you. Now I can't guarantee you, but I would think that the dispatch would never say, tie that motherfucker up. I wouldn't think that they would ever say that. I think they would say, we're going to send the unit out, a car, the police out at your next stop. Where are you? And let the police department handle that child. That's what I would think would happen.
Right.
And I'll be honest with you, Twin, before you go, let me just say this. I didn't think that was real. I didn't think that photo was
picture.
Yeah, I thought it was something that somebody was just, a lot of stuff come across my desk. I didn't really think that was real. I thought it was some type of AI thing, but it ended up. I think it's real, but I don't even. I haven't read the story. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, the superintendent could elaborate on it because it's an ongoing investigation. But I want her to just get her input. Like if that was me, I would thought she was gonna say that.
What did she say? So
somebody asked the question.
Somebody asked the superintendent. What was it? Sorry, y'all. I don't want this to get too long, but I'm curious. What did the superintendent say?
The question.
What did the superintendent say?
She said she couldn't elaborate on it because it's ongoing investigation.
Okay, that makes sense.
I wanted her to be clear about it, but she had to stand on business.
No, that's a great answer. She can't. I mean, it's a truthful answer. There's a lot of liability going on there, and you don't want to get out in front of the story. You don't want to get out in front of the truth.
The case or whatever.
Right. I mean, so I understand. All I'm saying to you, is it a definite that the bus driver tied the kid up? Do we know that for a fact, or do we know if a kid on the bus?
Houdini or something, who else did?
Well, I mean, bro, there's way kids do rant. They do shit on to each other. We used to do shit to each other, bro. We used to have kids sit on pins on. We used to as kids on a bus, bro.
I don't even think somebody named and said either the bus driver did or I don't even think it was named. I don't know who
Yeah,
did
I mean,
it.
to be
I know
honest
he
with you,
just they took a picture of it.
Yeah, I haven't read anything, so I don't know if the bus driver did it or it could have been some kids on the bus. Kids do some treacherous shit to one another.
Yeah,
so I don't
like,
know.
hey, I tapped the little bad little dude up, but I don't know. The bus driver did you right. I don't know.
Yeah,
Kid
so
might
until I hear the story, but just taking it, just taking it from what you're telling me, if the bus driver did it, they better have a legitimate reason to doing something like that, because I don't think that you should I don't think you should tie a kid up, when there's other options. And I think unless this kid was just off the chain and was physically threatening and was just doing some stuff, I'm not in a position to really have much of a comment of what the bus driver should have done. And I don't know what was going on. All right. Okay, twin. Well, I gotta go, bro.
That's all I have to say. Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you too, brother. Yeah, you can be right all you want to, bro. I'm not mad at that. All right, brother. I'll talk to you in a minute. All right, bro. Talk to you. Let's go right back to the phone lines. Let's get it in before I get up out of here. Good afternoon, caller. This is Wyatt. Who am I speaking with?
Wyatt, this is Alethea Williams. How are you?
Sis, what's good with you? What's happening today?
Oh, nothing much. I didn't want to hold you too long. I just wanted to clarify. I think you had some questions. The bus driver did not tie the kid up. I just wanted to just say that.
All right.
And it wasn't a bus driver. It was transportation. You know how they have transportation vans for kids that have behavior issues that have the IEP or individualized service plan.
Okay.
And they take them from one program to another, which the kid was coming from school and going to the aftercare program. The person who took the picture was the person that they were actually giving the kid to. And the transportation driver allowed this person to take a picture and also call the parent. They were not in agreement of this method, but the kid was being very abusive, not only to himself, but to others. But that child should have never been transported.
I got you.
So I just wanted to clarify that.
It's starting to make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, that never happened. The security guard at Roberts is who actually tied the kid up. So just to clarify that, I don't want anybody getting slammed for something like that.
Okay, so a security guard on the bus or at the school tied the kid up?
At the school, tied the kid up and put him in the transportation vehicle.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
That's not good. And when you do restraints, even with the IEP or ISP, it's only for a limited amount of seconds, not even minutes. You have to be hands-on and then hands-off to allow the child to kind of get himself or herself together. So that was a very long period of time to be traveling from one program to the other. So yeah, somebody is in trouble. I do believe it's the security guard, but I do know that with schools, sometimes that ISP or the IEP don't get communicated the way it should, and things may get mishandled because it's not spoken about throughout the team. I also know that the family was notified once the baby got to the child got to the second program, which was the after school. And that's when they became aware of the situation. But immediately, if you have to become on hands with a child, as far as restraint measures, you have to contact the parent immediately. And then also they ask for you to come and get the child because it's dangerous for them, the other students, and also the staff.
There you go.
So things were mishandled a lot through that, but I won't say the bus driver did that at all. The transportation driver was just pretty much delivering the child from one program to the other.
I see a lot wrong with this, though. I see a child that's going through an episode. Let's call it that, being transferred from one place to the other. When I don't think that's good right there, because now you're passing along an issue from one place to the other, when I think you should detain it. You should keep it in one spot. And this is not my profession, but I'm just suggesting that you would think that someone would say, okay, let's not. First of all, tying the kid up, I don't know who the hell thought of that brilliant idea. That was crazy. And then to pass that situation on to another driver to send to another situation is dead ass wrong. I think once that kid had his episode, you have to I think that the day is over for that kid. If y'all understand what I'm saying, I think that day for school and whatever the next program is, the day is over. You can't just take a kid that had an episode and then move him on to his next project. That's wrong in my eyes, because I think the kid who has a problem probably needs some time, some cool down time. All right. And you don't want other kids. Chances are he's amongst other kids with those same type of problems that, and you don't want them to be triggered. So I just think that that's not just a bad look. I think it was a bad practice. And I'm taking what you're saying, sis, because it makes more sense. That picture that I seen does not look like a school bus driver duct taping somebody or putting some type of bracelets on someone to detain them until they get them off the bus. That doesn't look right to me. All right. I don't know what bus driver would actually do that. That didn't make sense.
Right. And that's why the picture was taken when they transported it. And then the other staff of the aftercare did not want to accept the student in that manner. So they took pictures and also called the parents immediately. So that's why the kid was still in the car in the same fetal position that they were in once they arrived. But I also wanted to comment on the Black grocery store.
Okay.
Is it Country Meat Market? Is that what it is?
Not sure the name, but if you know it, say it. So, maybe.
Okay.
Look, I think I
just didn't want to keep calling it the Black grocery store. But I do know so many people have uplifted, and I talk about the Bush brothers all the time, but people really don't want to talk about them. But they took advantage of the Black community for so long that now when you have other grocery stores that want to open it, especially this new one that just happened to be Black owned and wanted to go into a Black community, I do believe that they went into the wrong community. I believe that they did not get a fair shake because they were so adamant about going to a Black community. And you're going to get passed over. You're going to be looked over. You're going to be delayed because you're working in favor of the Black people. Now, I know you don't want to hear that.
Hold on.
But
Let me ask you a question. Hold on, sis. I gotta ask you a question about what you just said. The Bush brothers. Who are the Bush brothers?
The Bush brothers are the brothers who had several meat markets down at the Findlay Market, who took millions from the Black people, where they would go down with $1,100 worth of food stamps, but they would give them maybe $500 in cash for them.
Oh, okay. So they were selling the stamps. Gotcha.
Yeah, yes, to these white, I'm gonna call it white men who were down there for years.
Black people buy stamps from Black people every day. But go ahead.
Every day. But what I'm saying is, this couple of brothers, for years have done this. I mean, back into time, probably back to when y'all was selling brown paper bags at Findlay Market.
Okay.
So what I'm saying with this set of people, I believe that they're trying to do everything right. They're not trying to feed the community liquor, beer, wine, cigarettes. They're not trying to sell stale bread. They're trying to get the freshest food, the best food in there. And it's difficult for them because people are not messing with them on a higher level, giving them a chance or giving them the credit to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to give you a break. Because of the neighborhood that they are in. They took a great risk of moving to Avondale. If you, I don't know if you're familiar with Zola's, but that sucker is packed. Mm-hmm. Zola's is packed, and I'm telling you, they crowd the street. But in the cereal bar,
Zola's? What type of store? What type?
I'm
sorry. When I interrupt you, sis, it's very important. Okay. It's important to what you're saying. What type of store is Zola's?
Zola's is a Black-owned restaurant as well that sits on the front side of the same strip mall. And they have more of an after a dinner, but kind of club bar-ish type ordeal going on. And it's It's an establishment that gives to the people where you're outside, you're smoking cigars, you're smoking cigarettes, you smoke whatever
Okay.
and having a drink, you know. But with this market, I do see more positive things with this market. Yeah, they didn't start off on the right foot, but I do know, just like lottery, it takes the EBT and SNAP a long time to get approved. I've been to Dorothy Lane. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they're in Mason,
Yeah, I'm
and they
familiar.
still have signs up saying, and they've been open maybe about 4 months now.
Mhm.
They still have the same signs up in black and white on the doors, even at the registers. We are not able to accept SNAP benefits yet. The store is amazing. It has fresh fruits,
Well,
fresh
hold on,
fresh
sis.
vegetables. It's beautiful.
Sis, a few
Uh,
months ago,
yes, sir.
I'm sorry, sis. A few months ago, I had a conversation about Dorothy Lanes because when I'm in Cincinnati, I ride up to Fort Wright. Well, not Fort Wright, but up to Wright Pat, up in the Dayton area to go to Dorothy Lanes. It's a beautiful grocery store. And
It is.
I didn't understand. I showed a picture on the show. They had a price for regular, and then they had a SNAP benefit price. And I'm saying to myself, and this might sound ridiculous to some people, but I questioned, why are they accepting SNAP benefits in this store when if you know Dorothy Lanes, which I'm sure you do, Dorothy Lanes is very expensive. And I'm saying to myself, most people on a shoestring budget can't afford the vegetables and the things that Dorothy Lane don't have a $3.99 chicken. They have a $9.99 or a $12.99 chicken. Everything in there is more expensive than you would find at a Kroger or an Aldi, any grocery store in the city of Cincinnati. None of them are going to be as expensive as Dorothy Lane. So I was wondering, why is Dorothy Lane taking SNAP benefits and it's not in a neighborhood, it's not in an area where you would think people would qualify for SNAP? Because think about it, sis. I don't know how often you go there, but Dorothy Lane's is very expensive. And you would wonder, who has the money? Who can afford to go to an expensive grocery store like that? You would think that the grocery store in the community would do much better because they would have affordable pricing. Now, one last thing about that. One thing I do remember about Kroger that was in Over the Rhine is they would never do well with their high price steaks and meats and things of that nature over the years. That was the one my grandmother went to. That was the one I was raised in. Not until here recently has Kroger started putting their prime cut meat in that store, which is down the street now, because people couldn't go in there with EBT cards or food stamps at our time. Nobody was buying $27 pieces of meat. Nobody was doing that. So that store was not going to be successful. So what they would do, they would take all of the older meat or the meat that's about to expire from the other locations and bring them down to the downtown Kroger and give them a week before they expire and put them in the Black community, discounting the price. I don't know how many of y'all remember that used to happen, but it used to happen. So my point is this, is when you said something about the store in Avondale, are you suggesting that it's the wrong location for what they're trying to do? Is that what you're saying? When you said that, maybe they came to the wrong neighborhood?
I do believe that, because every store that's in Avondale, they don't last long. The Family Dollar was robbed so many times they finally shut it down. It's a crime driven area. So many shootings, is there. I think the only thing that is very successful, and that's because they have gates up to their windows, is the shoe store that's there. It used to be like Devereaux's or something. I forgot what it's called, City Gear. Now, and then they have like a City Trends, which is a low scale budget, I guess, like clothing.
I'm familiar.
Um,
I'm familiar with it. Yeah. City
okay,
Trends.
yeah,
Okay.
City Trends, and then City Gear, which is, I guess, where the shoes and the clothing is, and they got the laundromat that is there, that is very much needed because you got so many apartment buildings. But with that store being so clean, and when I mean clean, I'm saying like, it don't have all the roughage that the other stores in Avondale have, with all the guys hanging out in front of the stores asking if you need weed, blunts, whatever. It just don't have that look to it.
sis, are you suggesting that's the reason why this store is not successful, is because of
I'm telling you that they're doing it the right way.
Who's
They're
doing it the right way?
The owners of this store,
Okay,
of
explain
the grocery store. I
Explain.
believe that they're doing it the right way. They're not overcharging
Okay.
for their product, which in business could be hurting them. This is what I'm suggesting as ownership. Because when I went in to visit, there were a couple items, that was in there, but they're not ridiculous. Like when you go into the Arab or the what are the African stores, that stuff is way overpriced.
But sis, here's the problem. I'm sorry to cut you, but I gotta say this: the problem that I'm hearing, what I'm reading in the comments of people who live in Avondale, is that there's nothing on the shelves. I'm hearing that they don't have a lot to offer.
I'm telling you, the reason why it's nothing on the shelves is because they're not overpricing the product, so they can get the return investment in there. They're still trying to do right by the community, just like what you just said with Dorothy Lane. You said they're expensive. I go to the store there every week. It's just across the street from my kids' daycare. So I go there every week. Yes, it's a little, above what Kroger's is, but I don't have to go through the riffraff of Kroger. I don't have to go through the riffraff of if I was to go to the market. You run through so much, just like you said, Kroger's downtown, but they have a Kroger on Court Street. They're more expensive than any Kroger that's in the city of Cincinnati for a smaller container, like a big can of green beans. They will be a small can of green beans for the same price you would probably get it in Coreyville, Clifton.
You know why?
This is what some of your seniors were saying.
You know why? Because the demographic of downtown has changed. Because if you look at what those high-rise prices are down there, meaning the housing in over the Rhine is a lot more. The demographic is different. That so Kroger
even in Avondale, they're trying the store there. I believe what they're trying to bring is a different type of ordeal, just like Kroger was. But in Avondale, you have to raise your price. You have to, but it'll do the people a disservice. But you have to raise your price. And I'm just saying, you're just not going to get all those people to hustle and bustle in there because you don't have the bootleg. You talked about Kroger's, but Kroger's was a whole, to me, business. Like when I walked in front of Kroger's downtown for the first time with my aunt, I had so many bootleg drivers. You need a ride when you get out. You need a ride. I had to get through the bootleggers to even get into the store. And when you get in the store, you find people that's selling their stamps before you even get, to get your food. Like it was just, to me, it was just more like, whoa, what in the hell did I just run into? It was a circus.
Right. No, I understand.
But when you walk into Avondale, I mean, we just have to call a spade a spade. It is what it was. And when you go to Avondale, you don't get that. You don't get that. And I applaud what they're trying to do. It's just not helping them. The shelves are empty because they're not overcharging the people. And people are really not, the bigger businesses,
if they're not
really messing with them like that, So they're going to have to go to Sam's to fill their shelves and charged up pretty much.
I'm confused. I would think a company that's not overcharging would be busy and would have shelves full, because they're turning the dollar. They may not make 75 cents on an item. They may only make a quarter. But with them doing that, they're still turning over the money. And I would think that if they're being fair on the pricing, that more people would go to the location and spend money with them, because they're competing against the little small community stores for certain things, and they would be able to turn the money over a little faster if everybody's going to the store. So I think it's something else. I think the perception may be one thing, the reality is another. And I don't know what that is.
I'm going to disagree only for one reason. You and I both know. Even in hair, I started, 13 years ago. If I was charging now what I charged 13 years ago, I would not make any money. I was looking out for the customer more so than myself. So you got to make sure that you pay the people who you employ. You got to pay the house, the electricity, the water, all that needs to come out. And you can't do it with this, just bare minimum pricing. So I'm saying they need to raise the prices. So they can buy more product and pay overhead.
But here's the problem, sis. They have competition. See, how I know they have competition is when I was reading the comments, people were saying, I didn't go in there. I went to such and such. I didn't go in there because they didn't have bread. So I went down to such and such. They had bread. So you can't, I mean, because
Well, they get fresh bread delivery, and actually
I'm sorry. I
one of
just
your
use,
homeboys, his ex-wife, she does flower bouquets in there.
I
Like,
know.
I think they really try to do the right thing. I'm not
I'm
arguing
not,
about,
hey, listen, I'm not
why the shelves are
arguing.
empty. I'm just saying
I'm
they
not,
need to go up on their prices because the store was very clean,
okay, here's
very
the thing, sis.
organized, and they do have a meat market down on Finley Market. They do, but it's more meat. So they probably just trying to bring a dream to Avondale. But if they would have just not used the black label to say black grocery store, I think they would have did much better in a different neighborhood.
Well, I don't, so basically, from your argument, your point of view, your argument is a grocery store is just not going to make it there because they would have to sell items for market rate pricing, and you think that the community is not willing to pay market price. I mean, that's basically what you're saying. If they're not buying at a
Yes, I
discount,
think this store would have made it if they would have went over to St. Bernard, where like IGA
yeah, but
is, like an area like that. I think they would have did great. Avondale is just not it, and it's nothing. I grew up in Avondale.
okay.
It's just not the right now that they have the investment that they're about to redo Avondale. Now, if they would have did this 2 years from now, like Dorothy Lane, they've been fighting since 2021, and they just opened in 2025.
But that's different. That's
Get here. So if
that's a
they
look.
would have
But hold
waited,
on,
I think maybe a year to 2 years to open in that location, I think they would have done a lot better.
Sis, let me explain something to you. This is what I had to have a conversation about with Twin. We're talking about two different business models, even though it's the same type of business. Dorothy Lane's took a ground floor level business, and I mean literally a ground floor level business where they had a brand new construction site. They bought the land and built from the ground up. Okay, that's a little bit different. From my understanding, the grocery store in Avondale had issues before they even opened, which that happens. I mean, like you said, Dorothy Lane's has been in project. It's been going for 3 or 4
But
years.
Avondale store, that property never existed. That was built.
Okay. But what I'm saying to you, there are certain restraints there are certain rules and regulations you have to face. It's not always because we're black and we can't get our permits and they holding us back. That's what I was trying to tell Twin. All I'm saying to you is, that's a perfect example. You said that Dorothy Lane's been waiting 2-3 years to open out there. I remember us talking about Dorothy Lane's coming to the Mason area and couldn't wait to for that place to open. I knew it was going to be expensive because I told everybody I go to the one over at damn near in Dayton. Okay, there's 2 locations in Dayton, matter of fact. So my point,
yes,
my point was, it's not always the people in the city, your administration or the Ohio State, that's people from the state that's stopping you from opening. Sometimes it's just us as business people not having all our ducks in a row or not being ready to open. Sometimes it's we're not able to fulfill what we need to fulfill in the permit area. Sometimes it's just things that take 6 months to 8 months to process, just like Dorothy Lane. All right, all of that was done in Dorothy Lane. It took them 3 years to open. So it's not always what we argue and fight and yell and scream about. That's what I was trying to tell Twin. But let me get back to the point that you're trying to make. You're basically saying that this store can't survive in Avondale because they can't charge enough money in order to sustain their business. They have to.
Exactly. Yeah, that was my point. And Avondale just.
But how does the competition stay in play though? How do the competition? If I'm not gonna buy a loaf of bread, and trust me, you know how you said one of my partners is his wife do the flowers there and all that. I know everybody that you're talking about. I want them to be successful. Okay, but we got to get to the nicks and crannies of why they're not. You see, there's a learning lesson here. It's not always what we see it to be. Sometimes there's things that we need to understand. If it was up to me, I would say everybody in Avondale and in the surrounding areas, go get your food from there. I can't say that because everybody who sees that location has a problem with how they're stocked. I can't even advertise on this network for them for free and say, go get this from there, because when you go over there, people are going to be disappointed. And it's only because of the comments that I've seen from people who live in Avondale, not me, not Twin, not people.
Oh, I've been there, and I don't disagree with any of them. And I do believe it should have the better stock, but I do know that's coming because they're not pricing right. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I was just saying.
So in other words, they're selling out.
That's what I noticed.
So
like,
let's just say
they got to raise their price. If they want to survive, they're going to have to raise their prices for what they put in there, because the building is beautiful.
So wait a minute. So sis, how do you know they're not pricing it up? I mean, they're not charging enough.
Because I saw the prices. And like I told you, I go to Dorothy Lane, I go to Kroger, I go to Meyer. So I'm a competitive pricer.
I understand. I get
so
it. Let me tell you something. Let me say this to you, sis. Let me just say this to you, sis. Just so I know what you're talking about, because I'm familiar with Dorothy Lanes. Trust me. My wife and I went into Dorothy Lanes when we were in Cincinnati. We went to the Mason location, and guess what we did? We put some shit back. All right, we went in there. They had grapes that were $12.99 that my wife and I would normally pay $4 for. We got to the register, and that shit said $12.99 for some grapes, small little thing of grapes. And I looked at my wife. I said, "Damn, what did we get that was such?" And I'm like, "This don't make no sense. This is a small thing of grapes, a little small bundle of grapes for $13 that normally would cost us $3." And I'm just saying, I don't know. And Dorothy Lane is packed. And for those that might not understand what I'm saying when I say, why does a store like that take SNAP or EBTs? Let's just say, I don't understand it, because people don't get value for their money. And usually people.
But there's a lot of people that get SNAP, Section 8, Medicaid. In Mason, they have a whole community.
I'm not fighting that at all. I'm not fighting.
With Dorothy Lane, let me tell you, that's why I felt like if this business would not have moved to Avondale, and they were trashed because they did not accept EBT.
Who?
Just because you're Black, because they were in Avondale. Well, and everybody was like, they don't take EBTs. They don't take EBTs.
I trash them for that. I have to admit, I don't mean trash. That's a hard way to say it. They would have did better.
They would have did better leaving it that way if they wouldn't have moved to Avondale. They were only trash. You only trashed them because they were in Avondale.
No.
It's majority EBT.
Exactly, sis. If I open a business, let me just say this.
That's why I was saying, if they would not have moved to Avondale, nobody would have trashed them for not taking EBT and raising those prices.
Maybe not.
Because they moved in the neighborhood, business-wise, they had to make a decision to service that community.
Right.
So that's why I feel like whether they were Black, white, Hispanic, if they would have moved locations, I think they would have done much greater, because the price would have matched what they were bringing.
But to basically counter that, sis, for those that can't afford the pricing, that's why you accept the EBT and the SNAP situation. So the reason why they moved to Avondale was to fulfill a missing block of what the community needed. I appreciate that. I support that.
Me too.
But you can't go into a neighborhood where 85%, and that could be a high number, but I'm definitely close. 85% of your clientele is going to be SNAP or EBT recipients. If that's your market, you have to accept that form of payment. You have to be signed up for it. So yes, you have to criticize the outfit that's there that don't have the way to collect the money. But your competitors, the little chief store, Tito over there, he said he accepts EBT, do lottery, and sell single cigarettes. You have to be able to compete with that market. But they just moved to Mason clientele. And if they didn't accept EBT, that would have been fine. Nobody would have criticized them. Maybe not, because maybe in that particular part of Mason, EBT was not majority of their business. But when you go into a neighborhood where you have subsidized, like EBT and things of that nature, you have to be able to accept what your massive community, your massive money spenders, what they have. If it's EBT, you have to be able to facilitate that. That only makes sense.
I agree. That's what I was agreeing with. But what they're bringing, this was part of my statement. That store is very clean. To me, their customer service was super amazing. They greet you upon entering. What you won't see is the beer, the liquor, the cigarettes, the guys hanging out in front of the store, loitering. You won't get any of that. And that's what I'm saying. I love the energy. Like, I love what they bring to the community. It's just a clean look. They're not trying to scam the people. They're not trying to buy the food stamps from the people. Like they're doing something
so are you
amazing,
suggesting, sis,
I think they would have been more successful outside of that neighborhood. It's just a new building. Wyatt, if you put one of your properties in brand new, ground up, would you put it in Section 8 as a businessman? No. Would you let one of your family members go and work in that community? No. The thing is, everybody said black on, black on, black on. We praise that. And I think it's wonderful. But when you say I'm servicing the Black community, that's why your groceries are not going back on the shelves, because you're not pricing what you need to price it to survive yourself, to survive as a business, and to just what they call re-up in the hood. You have to have the product. And there's a disconnect because they wasn't putting the prices what it needs to be.
So that
I
sounds like
I saw the prices. They were very under IGA prices.
So why aren't so you're basically saying they're not selling their products high enough so they can reload.
Exactly. So they could survive and re-up, yes, and keep up the property and the image that they have. I think they did a good thing. Like, I'm not saying they're bad people. But what I'm saying is it's a great thing that they're brought to Avondale. It's just not the right time for it. It's just not. And now even
let me ask you this.
Sam's was completely empty at the beginning of the week.
Let me ask you this. For anybody that lives in Avondale, maybe you know some folks. I know you know some folks. You're from Avondale. Let me ask anybody that's from Avondale or surrounding area. Let me ask you guys a question, if I may. If you don't go to this particular grocery store, which I wish you would, but I can't send you there if they have the issues that I'm saying. Let me just ask you this. Where do you go? Okay, where do you go instead of that market for your grocery needs?
Don't have a grocery store. Neither does Wanna Hills. You have to go to Coreyville or you have to go to Norwood. So please, let's not talk about either one of those Kroger grocery stores.
Can I make my
downtown,
point? Can I make
Clifton
my point?
area, Wanna Hills, Evanston, and we're talking about the hood. We're talking about the hood. Avondale, they all have to go to these two stores, Coreyville and also Norwood location.
So now let me ask you, sis, based on your logic, you just said that their prices in Avondale are much. Now, I don't want to put words in your mouth. You're saying they're lower.
I'm sorry, in IGA. IGA is in St. Bernard.
The store in Avondale pricing is lower than those other stores that you mentioned, but people aren't going there. Is that you're saying that they're going all the way to Coreyville from Avondale, which is not that far, but it's far enough. They're going to Coreyville and other surrounding areas, locations.
Yes, you know why? Because these SNAP benefits are not just SNAP benefits. You're talking about prescriptions. They don't have prescriptions there. You're talking about also WIC. You have to have the baby formula. You have to have the juice. You have to have the cereal and things like that. So you have to go in convenience. I've been a mother that wasn't driving. You know, I had to go to something that fulfills everything. So if I go into a Kroger or a Biggs or a Thriftway or anything like that, I had to get everything there. My hygiene, my cleaning, my house, everything had to get there. My WIC. So going to that's why I'm saying they're not servicing what they need to service because they underprice themselves, which they should be okay with upping their numbers so they can survive to get into these other areas of WIC. You know what I mean?
Okay, I get it. I understand what you're saying there, but I don't understand how they're underpricing, but yet don't have an audience. See, most
Because
people,
they can't get the quantities they need for Avondale.
then let's
Avondale
just
is
call it.
huge.
Then let's just call it what it is. Though that's bad business practice, and I think people would.
That's all I was saying. That's all I was saying.
That could have came out a long time ago, sis. It sounds
No,
like
I've been telling you that. I started out with that.
okay.
I feel like
All right.
if they would have moved into a different neighborhood where the prices would have been acceptable, that's why I brought up Dorothy Lane. The prices is acceptable. Only people that will say Dorothy Lane is expensive is people who don't shop there, that will shop other places. I go there for certain things that I like, I need, the vibe, how clean and orderly it is. I go there for special vegetables, things like that. Even I go to Myers, so it's not like I shop there because I feel like I got it like that. It's just I go to different stores for different things that I want.
Right, sis. I think
so they should just go to a different neighborhood because they're not doing the pharmacy. They're not doing the WIC. So if they would have just been into a different neighborhood and not so on, let's service the Black people, they would have had a greater audience.
I honestly think that was the point of their I think that was their point. I applaud them for that, but you can't use that it's the Black people making them go. I think it's their business practice that's making them fail, not the Black people. I think that
that's all. I'm not saying it's the Black people. Well, I never said that. I'm saying what they chose to do because they started out the line.
So they would be they would be successful.
Of people that were not SNAP beneficiaries, like they didn't benefit from SNAP because they were turning those people away because they weren't approved. Not saying they didn't want to service them, they weren't approved yet, but they had to have the money generated in. They just lost the crowd when you don't have the supply now, when you can accept the SNAP and now the food is not there. The WIC is not there. I got to pick up my kids' pharmacy things. Like you just have to open up. When you say I'm a grocery store, you really have to be a grocery store. That's all I'm saying. I think it's the business mistake. I'm not saying it's the Black people. I think the Black people was up and ready. I couldn't get in for the first 2 days. They supported them. I don't think it has anything to do with the mayor, anything to do with city officials. I think their business practices, they just was on a lower scale and they should have brought in those prices just a little bit, so they could get the overhead.
You're saying that as if have you heard the ownership group say that? Is that what they're saying, that they haven't been able to charge what they need to charge in order to stay open or keep this?
No. When I told you, I said, I'm telling you what I saw when I walked in as a business person, and I compared it. Like I knew I needed to raise my prices before I did it, but I'm still trying to service the people. So that's what I'm saying. They waiting too late until it's almost like red alert, red alert. We're going to have to close if we don't. They should have already done this. Like raise your price. If you want to survive, you got to raise your prices because you're not offering what these other businesses are offering.
That sounds redundant. That sounds backwards to me. I mean, I understand half of it. You're saying that you have to be able to offer your customers what they need, of course, right? That only makes sense. But the you have to raise your prices thing, I don't know if you know what they're actually going through with the books to be able to make that type of statement. I don't know if the bread is 25 cents cheaper is going to put them out of business, all right, than it would be at Kroger's. I'm just using this as an example. I think there's other business practices that need to be looked at before we assume that it's because they're not charging enough for their product. I think you have to say the first thing you have to do as a business owner that relies on a customer to come in your doors, you have to figure out how to get the customer to come in and how to keep them in. How to keep them in once a week, twice a week, once every 2 weeks. How do I retain these customers? That's how you retain.
That's why I was trying to explain to you. You're looking at it from one perspective, and you're right. I agree with you on that. What I'm trying to tell you is when you're servicing Avondale or any community, I don't even want to keep calling it the hood. It is what it is. But when you're servicing that type of community, you have to be able to provide a multiple of things. WIC is very important just as much as SNAP benefits because the babies need the milk, the fruits, the vegetables, the juice, the breads, all that. And if you can't produce for the food stamps and the WIC, you lost a customer in Avondale.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Right. No,
in
we
you're gonna
clearly
lose them.
understand that. But you're saying the reason why they can't do that is because their prices are too low.
Their prices are too low
That
for them
doesn't
to
make
get
sense.
more product on the
To
shelf.
reload,
So
I get it.
instead of just pricing it where, okay, I got a can of corn. And what I have enough to do is buy 2 corns. If one person buy this corn, I could buy 2 corns. No,
See,
you need cases
Right.
of corn. They don't sell bulk. They don't sell bulk. Avondale families are huge. You can't just go and think you're going to just buy 2 cans of corn. Now, I can get past with that. It's just me and my husband, and the baby. But when you got big families like in Avondale, you're going to have to service huge families, and they weren't prepared for that. And that's a business thing, though. I don't think it was the people. I don't think the people failed this business. I feel like they failed themselves by lowballing themselves for what they were bringing to the community.
Okay. All right. I get it. I get it.
Okay.
All right, sis. I appreciate the
Okay.
energy. Thanks
Okay,
for
I
engaging
appreciate
with.
you too.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. That is the first time I've ever heard that. That's the first time. Now, I do understand. All right, Sierra. I do understand that you can underprice yourself. You can do that. But after a week or you've been around a year. How has it been? About a year now? You've been around a year, and you would have learned that okay, we need to at least be market rate. We have to be at least competitive in the market space, which means instead of $1.99, maybe we're $1.89. That 10-cent difference might be huge on 30% margins or 25% margins. But I've never heard a company going out of business if they're doing their margin rates right. I've never heard a business going out of business because they're not charging enough. And your customer base is making social media posts, comments saying that you never have product. If you never have product, you don't have capital. That's the bottom line. You've either run out of capital or you didn't, something's wrong with your business model. I've just never seen a store open up and say the reason why we didn't last is because our prices weren't high enough. Now, granted, there is a ceiling price that you can charge in certain neighborhoods. I think that's what Sis was trying to say. If you're in Mason, Ohio somewhere, you can charge more and you have a higher profit margin. Let me tell you what happens to higher profit margins when you move to better neighborhoods. The profit margins might be high, but your cost of doing business is also high. So those profit margins don't really last as long as you think, because when you start looking at the cost of doing business, it's more expensive to do business in those areas like Mason because the rent is higher, the taxes are higher. So if you do charge 25 cents more out in Mason, it's absorbed by the cost of doing business in a nicer area. That's why it's a nicer area. To be honest with you, it has nothing to do. Some people might say it's the people, it's this, it's that. It has a lot to do with what the area actually offers. See what I'm saying? So you can't, just because they charge more in Mason don't mean I could take a store in the hood and have a higher profit margin because my cost of doing business is much lower than I would if I was to go somewhere like Kenwood in Cincinnati. You see what I'm saying? If I go somewhere in Kenwood or, Oakley or somewhere that's, polished, it's going to cost me $2,500 a month to get a building there, where I can get a business in Avondale for $1,000 a month. And that cost of doing business could equate to lower pricing, which will allow me to I can even have a higher profit margin because it's still costing me less to do business in Avondale. These are basic one-on-ones. I don't understand how you go out of business in Avondale because you're not charging enough, but yet they'll drive clearly over. Now, I think what she was saying is the store doesn't offer everything. Well, I'm not going to pick up prescriptions every time I'm going to get groceries. I don't think people do that. I think if I'm going to look, I'm going to give you a perfect example. Swartz up in the Fay apartments ain't had no damn prescriptions. They didn't have all, they had all the things that everybody down in the Fay apartments needed. And when it was time to go get prescriptions and shit, then we would take that longer ride up to Western Hills, up on West Northern Boulevard, all the way up to Kroger. Nobody rode all the way to Kroger's. They went to Swartz to get lunch meat, to get whatever we needed. We went to Swartz. Swartz is no different than the store, this market store that we're talking about right now today. It's no different. All right. Let me go to this last phone call before I get out of here for the day. Good afternoon, caller. This is Wyatt. Who am I speaking with? Hello, caller. Let's get a caller a couple seconds. Let me make sure I got him on. Okay, caller, you there? Hello, caller. Caller,
Hello.
you there? Yes, you there?
Can you hear?
Yeah, you're breaking up on me a little bit though.
I apologize. This is Marquetta.
Hey, Marquetta, how you doing today?
I'm wonderful. It's sunny and shiny, 72 degrees.
Okay.
I wanted to point out that the city of Cincinnati, I keep putting it in the chat, but I wanted to say it. It's called GCP Seeds of Change Urban Agriculture Grant Round. Applications are due Monday, November 24th, 2025 by 11:59. This is where you can apply in fiscal year 2026 for agricultural production and growing sites, as well as local food aggregation distribution sites. So basically community gardens. I'm not sure what we're missing. Listening to our community sometimes can be troubling. I watched the news. I read the article, the story that you're talking about. They have supplier side issues, from tariffs to just being too small to get deliveries to possibly theft and just not being able to keep up. And a lot of that, whether we want to accept the responsibility or not, falls on us. We can feed ourselves. The city just released like $875,000. I saw the article, but I can't damn find it, to increase community gardening efforts. And I talk, and people, I know I get on people's nerves. I get tell, but I've talked about community gardens for years, and people laugh and say it's impossible and you can't do it. But here they are now allocating funds for community gardens. Black Americans just got starved. SNAP recipients just got starved. They wasn't gonna feed you until they got done playing a political game. So at some point we have to put the supply issues into our own hands. It doesn't take long to plant a seed. Maybe 100 days, you can get a crop. Is you there with me, Wyatt?
We listening. We got you.
Okay, so I dropped the link. There's an online application. They got funding guidelines. We have to get involved. We can't keep pushing the buck to the white man. The white man ain't feed me. I ain't get my stamps, etc. We should have within our community fresh produce. When I was listening to the guy Kevin Farmer saying he didn't want to take a chemical to get his bipolar disorder under control, and I was saying he need a pot of fresh greens. And Emmanuel, because he's cynical, he said, "What you think? He just gonna eat a pot of greens and be okay?" Yes, greens, cabbage, green leafy vegetables, broccoli. That's the building blocks of your brain. That's vitamin A. That's vitamin K. That's vitamin C. And if you have a nutrition deficit, you will have mental instability. If you're only eating Wendy's and McDonald's and fast food or noodles, or you're missing that table time with your family, you're going to have emotional issues. You may have behavioral issues. So I'm saying, and Sister Iris is in the chat, When I was younger, Sister Iris, I used to come to your store and you had the Mata Network. The Mata Network, the founder was killed by the DC sniper. He was like one of his first victims. But the Mata Network was built around Black-owned products, shampoos, conditioners, lotions that were primarily targeted towards our community. So our community has money. We have the resources to invest in products that will benefit our community. We are not a bad customer. You understand what I'm saying? The opportunities that have come economically to Cincinnati have been thrown away. Like I said years ago, you had that $25 million bond. It was a tax exempt bond that you could use that bond money and buy buildings, and the people in the community could be partners and owners of the, of the properties to keep the stores up. When the community is disinvested, they're not going to care if they come in and steal. Family Dollar gone. Now it's a big hair store. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
You can't keep on pushing the buck and saying this is somebody else's responsibility to feed me when there are resources available that we can do ourselves. And I'm not in Cincinnati myself, but again, the Urban Agriculture Department of the city is offering grant applications for the year 2026. They are due November 24th, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. If in another 5 years we find our communities again without food, we have to begin to place the blame on ourselves. If you hate the white man so much, why are you expecting him to feed you? If you are so, anti-Trump, why would you be expecting him? Why would you be expecting him to feed you?
There you go.
When you can feed yourself? The ground is open to anybody. Drop a seed.
There you go.
When COVID went down, AK-47 used to be in the bus chat talking about chickens,
right,
and how you can get free-range chickens. When my cousin up in Price Hill heard neighbors across the street, they just got chickens running around in the yard. Ain't no fence or nothing. They just running around in the yard.
Not to mention, sis, the tax breaks that you have for having farm live animals on your property. That's just a small little nugget for people. Go ahead.
But that's what I'm saying. We have lost our. I'm not going to say we have lost it. We are distracted. We are distracted with things that make us over emotional. We talked about this before, that push us emotionally. But when it comes down to concrete things, food, clothing, land, shelter, we are always looking for somebody, help me. When I talk about reparations, it's an internal reparations first. You have to first, that's Master P, he has so many businesses. He got he got a breakfast, he got a chip, he got a noodle. He just started doing
people laugh at him for that. People laugh at him for that because they think that he is being just trying to get into everything for any old reason. And I just disagree with that. I talk about self-sufficiency on this program all the time. And I think it's important that I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, sis, but I'm running out of time. It's time for me to get out of here. But I love it when you call, that. All right. Because you're probably one of the only people that really speak that self-sufficiency as much as I love to hear it. I mean, it's just the bottom line. I don't know what's going on with the store over in Avondale. Maybe we can finish that conversation tomorrow. But I just think that what we need to do is figure out a way to become more sufficient, more independent. That's Marquetta,
the resources are there, and I appreciate
Absolutely.
your show because we are driven into a frenzy. At any moment they can say, let's go riot, and you're gonna have rebels without a cause like, yeah, let's go riot, let's go tear up our community,
right,
and not have nothing to replace it after your tantrum. Right. So I appreciate your voice. I ain't gonna take too much more of your time, but I just wanted to drop that out there.
Appreciate
Cincinnati Food and Urban Agriculture. Go to the website, City of Cincinnati. The application is available. You can use these expenses for soil testing, compost, cover crops, plant seeds. You can get hoses, beds. You can start a beehive. We can do it, damn it.
I'm telling you. Hey, Marquetta, thanks for calling in, sis. I appreciate you. Please call in tomorrow and bring some more of that, because I like to talk about land purchase. I like to talk about things that we can do. I think that, to be honest with you, I think Lincoln Heights, and I know I love Cincinnati, but I'm just going to show you. I think Lincoln Heights is a prime example of how you can have a village and have everything and be self-sufficient. I think you can have your own police department, your own fire department, your own everything, your own water division. You can have everything. I think Lincoln Heights is a perfect example. You just have to have the proper leadership. You got to have the right people. They qualify for the government subsidies and the same money that small cities in this country get. And we could do that. We just got to all be on the same page. Hey, peace and love to everybody, man. I really got to go. I'm a little bit over time. I appreciate it. Thanks for stopping in with us, giving us a little bit of your time. I'll be here tomorrow, right here, same place, same time, 1 o'clock. Peace and love to you.
Yeah. It is what it is, man. Sirens flashing, you know the routine. The crime scene taped off. It started out a robbery, they blew half his face off. They seen him shining, cross full of diamonds, he bought grinding. His foot slipped off the ladder of success, he was climbing. The D's came through, asking niggas if they know what happened. Somehow my name ended up in anything that involved clapping. Detectives at my mama crib, they say they wanna question me. They put me in a lineup last time and they arrested
Irish Rowley, call me.
me. When it come to cooking coke, they know I got the recipe. I turn a quarter to a half, that's why they mess with me. I'm the neighborhood pusher, I move packs to mix stats. A little weed, a little X, a little H, a little crack. Figure, I push it to the limit, take the shit to the max. Navy blue vest on, navy blue Yankee hat, calm. In my palm, fully loaded firearm. First to let off, last to run, every time it's on. I tell niggas to suck my dick, get the fuck out my face, cause I don't need them, cause they're never around. When I'm down, shot and I'm bleed. What? Nigga, is there a motherfucking problem, nigga? Oh, yeah, that's what I thought so. Pussy. Niggas speak talking about me, they always calling me crazy. Fuck them OG niggas, they stuck in the 80s, saying they gon' do me something. Now you know that's a lie. Nigga, you look at me wrong, I let that hammer fly. I'm rich, I still wake up with crime on my mind. Queens nigga put it down like Pappy Mason in his prime. When I say move, nigga move. Look get caught in the crossfire, up a fence running. Cut my fucking hand on the barbed wire, shit's crazy. Just a different day, it's the same shit. Hollow tip part in your hand, leave your whole fucking brain split. They sick, they see me in that Aston Martin. What's the matter? They can't get that hoopty started. Thought they was grinding, well goddamn, where that money at? Thought you was fucked up, cause you was letting paper stack. You ain't a hustler, matter of fact, you's a buster. I don't trust you, I sure said niggas didn't touch you. I tell niggas to suck my dick, get the fuck out my face, cause I don't need them, cause they're never around. When I'm down, shot and I'm bleed. What? Who said they gonna do something to me? Must be out your rabbit ass mind. Fuck around, kill one of these niggas.